Now they lost it on the 40 acres on campus grounds. We gather round, discussing goals and dreams and life's adventures. The Texas Longhorns, they the talk of the town. Podcast tales of the 40 acres, where we dive deep into the game day stories, from touchdowns to heartbreakers. We discuss it all, Texas Longhorns glory. There we gather round each Thursday night, talking sports, it's so alright. From football to basketball, baseball to softball, Tim Wayne and Harry, we cover it all. Sports talk is our passion, our delight. Thursday night at 8:30, we unite. We discuss the scores, the plays, the teams who might. Let's dive into the game, let's ignite.
12 conference champions.
You know, there will be a certain point in time where we will update that. It will no longer say Big 12 Conference Champions. I'm hoping it'll just say SEC Conference Champions. But hey,
Man,
that is hopefully something coming soon one day. But what's up, you guys? This is the Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast. My name is Harish. This is my boy Tim Wayne.
what's happening?
This is our boy Cory. Gentlemen, what's going down? How are y'all doing?
Sensational and a beautiful day outside. You
Yeah.
know, wonderful Wednesday hump day. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, beautiful day outside. But yeah, I'm glad to be with y'all today.
Yeah, it's nice and warm outside for you Texas folks that love what we love out here. 92, nice and sunny and crispy.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, what's
Yeah,
up,
I'm
bro?
good.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. We're less than a month away from EA Sports College Football 26, and we haven't heard anything. And so I'm still eager and happy and can't wait to buy the game, to get that game and to play it. Continue our online dynasty. By the way, you got fired. So
up?
you
My coaches are not doing their job.
So Cory, let me listen. Just a little tangent, right quick.
Wait, what system before you start?
Xbox. We're
Okay.
all Xbox players, but just so you know, EA Sports 26, College Football 26, cross-platform on the online dynasty. So anybody and everybody can get it now.
Say less.
So my man Harish over there had fallen off. You know, there was a ton of games, and I completely understand. There's a ton of games that came out, and he wanted to play them on the PlayStation. So he was kind of making more time to play those games. Cool, no problem. You know what I'm saying? No harm, no foul. It's 15 other guys in this dynasty. You know what I mean? So we're going pretty strong. My man ends up getting the highest rated defense without playing. We go a whole season. He doesn't play. The games that he does play absolutely gets throttled. Then he ends up recruiting these good players all out of nowhere, right? So he's got like one of the best defenders, one of the best cornerbacks, one of the best defensive linemen, 96 overall defense, 92 overall offense, and he doesn't play. Schematically and by the numbers, he has the best defense in the game, and he got fired.
That's ridiculous. How do you have time to recruit? First off,
He doesn't.
I don't.
computer
Bro,
recruited those
I have
guys?
not been
The
able to
computer
play.
was recruiting.
Yeah.
No way. Oh my god.
I was telling Tim, I was like, look, bro, like the new game's about to come out. Like when we get into the new season, I'll jump in and play the last season, right? Like, get ramped up. I guess I got fired. No season for me. We'll see y'all in
I guess
26.
I got fired, bro. Oh my
He
god.
got fired, and he's getting absolutely
He's
clowned.
really Coach O. He's like Coach O.
Yeah, he's definitely.
Probably, bro. Coach O tries though. I'm not even trying.
Listen. By the end of this dynasty,
Uh-huh.
we will have not played at least 4 seasons.
Okay, so why even be in it? At that point, why even be in it?
You never know when I like get the itch and I want to jump
You
in.
said you never know.
I'm
Wait,
in
don't you
all
have
the
to play?
conversations, so what if I get the itch and be like,
He
you know
doesn't
what? I
respond
do
in the
need to-
Discord. He does not respond in the Discord. He
Okay.
barely responds to anything except off season. He'll do off season, and then he might not. So he'll at least do some off season. He might do some position changes, maybe even like manage his depth chart.
Hey,
But
Yeah.
after that, it's a wrap. He is not, and we got some dogs. We got some
That is crazy.
former college football quarterbacks and college football players in there. We've got a former basketball players in there. So we got like pro gamers. It's like
Yeah.
it's a little bit of everything in here. So from all walks of life, and he just won't play.
What are the? I'm hooked on this game. I was literally playing it last night till like 3 a.m. I'm still on it.
Yeah, me too.
So
Oh,
what do y'all do with the conferences? Do y'all play each other in the same conference, or
I'm the commissioner, so I've made some moves, but nothing crazy. I've moved a couple of guys, a couple of smaller teams into bigger conferences. But as far as everything else is concerned, basically what I do is I set it up to where everybody has about 2 to 3 user games a year.
okay?
And then, if need be, if it gets down to it, like I'll try to do what I can to try to get everybody into the college football playoff, especially if you've got a good record. But I mean, if you got a big enough program, you're straight. I went from Appalachian State to Virginia Tech, from Virginia Tech to Ohio State. I got 2 national championships.
Talk your stuff.
My man Harish over here don't got it. Because he won't play the game. If he would just play the game, he would probably get a better school. Right now,
this
he's
is the thing.
a
But
Lobo.
this is the great. This is what's awesome about how good I am at this game without even playing it. I haven't even played it. I went from Sam Houston State to Arizona, and I
Yeah, that's
built
crazy.
one of the best teams in the game.
Your coaching has built the bless. Your coaches have built.
Which means what, Tim Wayne? Which
You
means
have been
what? I
inactive, so
hire
therefore
excellent.
You don't get
assistants.
that credit, dog. You don't. Get
I
that
have
credit.
Steve Sarkisian level assistants that I'm hiring to run the
No,
program.
no. If you had
I'm
Steve
overseeing
Sarkisian
what's happening.
assistants, you'd be in the playoff. You're not. You got fired. You got
Bro,
fired. You got
it's
fired.
always about the process, my guy.
Yeah.
You
It
worried
might be a
about
lot
the
of like
results.
Nick Sirianni. It's like
Yeah,
just to say,
he's more like Rich Rodriguez. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, I'm like the Sixers, bro. I'm always focused on the process and not the results. Y'all can be worried about the results.
We're
I don't
gonna
care,
do
no.
we're gonna do one more season.
oh
The
yeah,
national
I'll jump
championship.
in. Who do I get to?
Tonight.
Do I give? Do I get to go back to Sam Houston, or who do I get? Who hired me?
I don't know what we're gonna do. If you want to
yeah. How does that work?
I don't even know. Like,
Guess we're about to
you
find
would
out.
literally have to check to see who was available. You can get a big program though. That would throw the dynasty in array. Like you would cause all types of havoc. You can't do that.
Well, that's not my problem. It's the homies better get ready
You
because
can
whatever I
go
get is
back
what
and
I
take
get.
Arizona, but like you're gonna get clowned. Like you're gonna get clowned.
You know what? You know what's awesome about getting clowned is you can either choose to respond to it or you can choose to ignore it. So if
That's
I'm
like
not
it's
if
like
I'm
comment
ignoring it,
section.
I'm not getting clowned. They're just talking to air. So that's not my problem. That's theirs. So but anyway, we will keep you guys updated on my college football 25 antics.
I'm locked
adventures.
in now.
Hey, listen, man,
Listen,
you
we
can
always
jump in.
get
We'll
surprised.
we'll,
Now,
we'll
Cory,
add you in next year.
Cory,
Yeah,
it
please.
is pretty. It's pretty crazy. If you're open to playing against some real dogs, I'm just saying you might want to take it seriously. But I'll extend the invitation so you can decide what you want to do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because
I'll
there's
tell you
some
what you need to
real
do, man.
dogs in this dynasty.
I'll tell you what you need to compete in this dynasty. Go find every YouTube video you can find and read it.
It's
Watch
really
it.
like that.
It's like that, bro. These people.
Well, with
like,
some
these
guys, it's
Okay,
like,
okay.
I run a clean program.
Nah, they try to break the game, bro.
I don't
Go,
try to break the
go.
game. I run a clean program. I won at Ohio State running two clean seasons, two programs clean. No issues at any of the schools that I've been at. All of my players have been successful. They've gone on to have great careers.
So y'all have had to pick a school with, I'm assuming, low stars, like 2, 3-star
So we usually
programs, and then
start out
work your
like
way up.
we do 1-star, 2-star,
Wow.
and
Okay.
then progress
Start
up.
low.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
we
start
start real low.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the offense I run, I'm a big, like, people hate when I play though. Because I am the prototypical, like, this is what is supposed to happen in a real football game, so I'm going to do it this
Oh
way.
yeah.
Yeah, and we have
And
those.
like,
We have those
I'm
type of.
gonna take the 3 points. I'm
Right.
gonna punt it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm all about field position. I'm gonna run the football.
Right.
I'm not gonna toss that mug around. I can promise you that. I will run the football.
Cory,
And I will.
I run the
Yeah.
Maryland Eye. I'm running it right down your throat, and ain't nothing you can do about it. You're
Stop
gonna take,
me!
You're gonna take these.
Stop me!
It is what
all
it
pro
is.
offensive tackles and offensive linemen, and we just go cram it down your
We
gullet. You gonna
bitches.
have to figure it out.
Yes, bro. I recruit every top guard, every top center, power. It's like
Yep.
just going to run the ball down your throat.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
pretty
and
much,
then we're gonna
pretty
stop
much.
you on defense, and that's it. Like, sorry, I'm not passing the ball more than 20 times. I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I'm glad. I'm not the only one out there.
yeah. I run the
Hey,
ball.
Okay.
I
yeah,
run the
there's
rock.
so many different styles that you could play too, right? Like there's guys that do all sorts of different stuff. I don't know what my team does because my assistants don't tell me what's going on the field. So you know,
You got to turn the game on to know what's going on.
That's
I mean, I
hilarious.
do turn the game
Got
on.
to
I
turn the
think
game on. You got to turn
it's
it on
sitting there on quick resume. It's been sitting on quick resume for like
for the last 3 months. Yeah, go
8
ahead,
months.
fire it
You
up,
know, hey,
fire it up.
maybe we will, maybe we won't. Only time will tell. We'll keep you guys updated on that. But you know, Corey's here to talk to us about Arch Manning and Ryan Wingo because I don't know if you guys know, but Arch was in St. Louis recently, so I really want to talk about that. We'll dive deep into that. Corey, you made a video. I think it was yesterday. I was actually
Yeah.
scrolling through TikTok and I saw and I was like, "This is good stuff." So I really want to dig into that.
Thank you.
Before we
Appreciate
get there, first though, let's pay some bills. FanBattlesports.com, where you can get the latest and greatest from the AFC South, including the Colts, who don't know what their quarterback's doing, whether he'll play or not. The Texans, who maybe have a quarterback that can throw. The Jaguars, who pretend they have a generational talent, they really don't. And who else is there? Oh, the Tennessee Titans, who will also win 2 games again this year. FanBattlesports.com. If
Not
you're
the way
interested in
Cam
starting
worked
your
on
own
that
show,
ball.
what's that?
Not the way Cameron worked on that ball. James gonna win more than 2 games. They might sweep y'all.
You know what? Don't worry about what's going down in Indianapolis, bro. We setting up for the next Manning. So I don't know what
Hey,
you talking about.
No, you're
free
not.
my guy Adonai Mitchell, man.
No, you're
Free
not.
Adonai.
Oh man,
Free
get out
Oh
Adonai,
man,
get
bro.
out of
listen,
here.
bro.
Free Adonai,
You
Get
bro.
know,
out
you
of
know,
here.
real quick. You know my big prediction for the year for the Colts is Adonai
Uh-oh.
Mitchell. AD Mitchell has 10 touchdowns this year.
I mean, yes,
He
he
has
has
the
the
ability to do
potential.
it.
Yes,
He should.
he's a
Right?
quarterback.
1,000%. I think we
He's
all
a
agree.
Daniel
on that.
Jones is going to throw all 10 of them to him.
I believe it. I think Daniel's
So
gonna win the job. I mean,
I think he is too because Anthony Richardson can't stay healthy. I'm off the Anthony Richardson train, bro. I've been off since that last injury scare or whatever they want to call it. I ain't doing that no
what
more.
about when he against the Texans? You know what I'm saying?
Now,
Tapped out? Yeah,
I was
bro.
watching that game.
he should have. He
You know,
should
big
have.
H Town hold it down. You feel me?
Have never been on that train to begin with. But that's neither here
Man,
nor there.
I
Go on,
don't
man.
have a
Physical
choice, Tim.
freak. He's a
I don't
physical
have a
freak.
choice. I don't have a choice.
There's a lot of people that I don't like in Dallas, and even though I'm a Dallas fan, I am not a fan of a lot of the players.
But you're still watching the games, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean,
All right. What are we talking about?
Hey, what you think Jaden gonna do, bro?
Man,
I'm
Jaden?
excited.
I'm hoping that he is a 1-2 punch type of situation with Phil.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I really think that they could do something. They could really have something special, especially because right now all of the hearsay around camp is like the offensive line has been really really good. So if the offensive line has been really really good, and you can get those young backs running, I don't see why they won't be able to do something there. And then
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know how they're going to utilize Jaden. I'm hoping that they put him back there with Kevon Turpin. If they have both of those two guys back there on special
That's
teams at
nasty.
front,
Yeah.
that could be something special. That could be.
You know what I was really hoping Dallas did was go get like a legitimate wide receiver too.
Yeah. Well, George.
Because they don't have a
We
legitimate
go
wide receiver.
we go disrespect Pickett like that.
Did you
but
forget?
George, we don't know
bro.
what he's
Come
gonna
on.
do.
Come
You forgot
on,
about
bro. Pickett is a dog, dog.
Pickens.
Come on.
You
Yeah,
forgot about
Pickens
the
is a
dog.
dog, but I mean, we don't know what he's gonna do. He's a dog. Like I mean, AD Mitchell's a dog, but he hasn't proven anything yet.
He hadn't
Okay,
had
he
the
ain't a quarterback.
opportunity
He ain't
to.
a quarterback. We have seen George
That's what I'm
Pickens
saying. Let's give him.
catch.
Let's just see what happens.
We've seen
We've seen
AD have glimpses. Am I wrong, Corey? We've
No,
seen
no, no.
Oh, you're
We
not
have
wrong.
opportunities
Yeah.
to go get the ball. I think he balled out against the Rams one time. He's had other opportunities against the Texans where he looked good.
Bro, week
But
1 against the Texans, he should have had 2 touchdowns. I
thank
mean,
you.
AR just couldn't
He couldn't get him
throw
the ball.
anything in the vicinity.
Well,
So,
here's the
like,
thing. AR couldn't get in the ball, but then when he did get the ball, nobody wanted to catch it. So I mean, we've got to look at it in both perspectives. Like he has had. I'm not saying ample opportunity, but he has had that. Here's the thing about AR that's interesting. I don't want to go off on this tangent. Last year, right? It was bad, right?
Yeah.
But also, the team was. It was not a well coached team. Like there were a handful of throws,
Mhm.
probably like let's just say 30% of his throws that were catchable,
Right.
right? That were dropped. I think the
Horrible.
Colts led the league in dropped passes last year. Like riding. AD Mitchell is included in that.
But
right?
I also believe that AD at one point in time he was up there for like catches over 20 yards. He was balling like, dude. At one point in time, he was like, and I hate bringing this up, but he was like a fantasy football like go getter. Like you need to go get this guy because he's balling out. Like when they throw the deep ball, they're going to him and he's coming down with the ball. So
No,
again,
that was Alec Pierce.
was it Pierce?
Yeah, Alec Pierce went crazy. Well, because the deep ball is Anthony Richardson's best throw.
It's his
That's all
best
you
throw.
got.
But
So
again,
That's all you got.
So-
if you give them if he gets the opportunity to really ball out, I think AD is receiver number one. I know that sounds
too.
really
Oh, you got Pittman. You got Pittman. You got Pittman.
you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
Pittman and I respect Pittman, but at the same time, like Pittman, if I'm not mistaken, didn't really get a lot of targets like he should have gotten last year.
was
Nah,
also
they weren't
hurt.
throwing it.
Yeah, they weren't throwing the ball, so it's like, and then from what I'm looking at and what I'm seeing, AD's really the only one really getting the ball. Now, Pierce had the opportunities; he was doing his thing too.
I will say Josh Downs. Josh Downs, yeah. Josh
Josh
Downs is
Downs
nice.
is our best wide
Okay, yeah, I forgot about Josh Downs. Josh Downs was
Like
I-
Josh Downs.
he had his moments too. He had his moments.
I will say, like AD Mitchell has the potential to be the best receiver on the team, even better than Josh Downs, right? Like I know Colts fans love Josh Downs, but I think AD Mitchell is the complete package. Like if he can put it all together, right?
Yeah. I
I
mean,
don't
I
know
like
what
AD more than Xavier, to be honest.
I do
Out of
too. I
college.
mean, well, because he can run the intermediate route. His ability to get open is so, and he doesn't have to just rely on his speed, right? He can
Right.
use his feet. He's a great route runner, which I mean that tells you like I think like route to like percentage that he was open was insane. Like I mean that whole team was a mess last year. It was like the Colts were a complete joke last year, and
You had
that's why I
the
wanted
nerve
the
to talk about the
GM and
Texans, though.
yeah.
Like you really try to
What?
throw a slug at the Texans as if we did
Oh,
this
he
in the
does this
division
every week.
the
Oh,
back
he
to
does
back
this
years.
every week, Corey. He
No,
does this every week.
that's just
He
like
does it
that-
That's
every week.
crazy.
He does it every week.
As if we don't run the South.
Well, here's the thing, Corey. That's like
Here we
you know what's crazy about the Texans? The Texans
Tell
are
me.
so much better than everybody else on paper, but they can only beat everybody else by a game every year.
I mean,
So
rivalry.
are they
you
that
know
much
what
better than
happens.
everybody else?
The AFC is pretty.
I mean,
pretty
should
solid.
Texas have lost to A&M? I mean, should Texas have beat A&M by less than 2 touchdowns last year?
But
No,
what do
they had
we?
a,
But
they had a
what
way
we're
better
saying
team.
is-
Should've
what
But
we're saying-
rivalries happen, and
Yeah.
so these
Sure.
games become close with rivalries. I mean, that's just what it boils down to.
To be fair,
I mean, if that's the excuse we want to run with year after year after year after year, that's fine. But the Texans have had the best quarterback in the conference in the division for how long now? 4 years.
Just 2 years. Let's not act like CJ's been in the league for
Only
that
his
long.
third year. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's going on his third year. Yeah,
I stopped
I know.
caring
I know
about
you're
CJ
hoping for him
Stroud.
to retire pretty soon because
I stopped caring about CJ Stroud when our team forgot how to choke for him. So, but anyway, and see, I never wanted Anthony Richardson to start with. But anyway, fanbattlesports.com. If you want to start your own show, hit us up, contact us. We'll hook you up with everything you need. Fanbattlesports.com. If you guys are watching from YouTube, follow us or subscribe, like, comment below. We'd really appreciate it. We are also live on TikTok right now, so smash the tap the button thingamabobber thingy, and chat with us. We'd be glad to hear you out. And of course, follow us on Twitter. We are close to 2,900 followers on Twitter, so we'd really appreciate you guys. We've grown quite a bit. We're really excited. Like we were talking about, we were on with Nash last week, Corey, and we were just talking about. We just do this for giggles, right? We love Texas. We love talking about Texas. We love talking to people about Texas. So if you guys like to do that, we'd really appreciate it. Come check us out.
hey, Nash knows his stuff.
Man, Nash is a
Good dude, man. Nash is so
Man,
that dude knows a lot.
Talking about impressive.
I was like, you got it, dog. Like, come take my job.
He's
I
one
mean,
of the.
at this
He's
point.
honestly, he's probably one of the most knowledgeable Like one of the most knowledgeable guys in the community. Period, and
Yeah.
it's really impressive to see what he can just like randomly like rattle off names, baseball prospects, old pitching prospects coming in, prospects that are possible that might commit, high school baseball, like anything baseball. This
He loves
guy
it.
he knows it, and it's very impressive. Like,
Yeah.
how do you have all that time to know all of these players and all of these recruits?
Super
I'm
super
I'm
cool
trying to get
people
my
too.
recruit on NCAA, bro. Like you worried about
Bro.
recruits? I'm trying to get Pat Strong from
Listen,
Kentucky, 5-star prospect. You know what I'm saying
Right,
on the
right,
roster over
right.
here. You know, so yeah, I don't know how he does it, but I always tell him all the time, like, bro, you know your stuff,
Yeah,
and I will never even assume that I do because there's
yeah,
guys like you walking around here.
there's
So
yeah.
no need to, right? There's so many like different people that know other things. Like
yeah,
we just like to cover the team and all the things they do. That doesn't mean we know everything. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
well, everybody knows football is king at Texas, so that's what we all talk about. But everybody
Mhm,
has their own niches, right?
mhm.
You got Occupy Left Field. You got guys like those guys in Nash that do focus on baseball.
Yeah,
Um, we're gonna have a guest soon that focuses on softball, which is national champions.
national
Hook 'em
champions. Yes, sir. Yes,
represent. So
sir.
I mean, there's people that focus on different things, and so it's kind of cool to like build a community that way. And that's what we're all about, right? We want to talk
yeah.
with other people about Texas sports because that's what we enjoy talking.
Hmm.
But if you like talking about Texas sports and want to talk to us about it, hit us up. YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, X, G, whatever you want to call it. Hit us up.
Hey, quick question, quick mention here, Corey. You've been putting in some work on TikTok, bro. I've been noticing you've
Bro,
been
I
doing
thank
was
some
you.
about to say, dang,
real
can we get?
quality work, bro.
Yeah,
I've been noticing it. I've seen the quality of the stuff that you're putting out, especially like sports related stuff. It's been really good. It's been really awesome to see over the last couple years. So man, congrats on that, man. I hope your channel blows up and continues to grow, man. I really noticed from just a creative perspective, like you really putting in a lot of effort into these TikToks, and a lot of people don't know it's hard making TikToks. It is
yeah,
because
it's
you also
really hard.
gotta
Yeah,
update, you gotta keep this stuff going, you gotta know your hashtags, you gotta come up with quality posts. You can't just throw stuff up on there and expect it to go, but you might randomly throw something up there. And me and Harish, like, we threw some stuff up there with Arch, and the first year he was at Texas,
hmm
he was just throwing the ball around at the spring game. It's got 150,000 views.
yeah,
We
Because it has Manning on it.
we but that also, but like the second one we had with Slosh, right after he won the national
Did really
championship,
well. Yeah,
it blew up. No, everybody thought we were trolling, but
yeah,
it actually really happened. We just happened to get it up real quick. So it's
yeah.
like you got to be on top of that stuff, man. TikTok is not easy. You got to know your stuff. You got to know the
hmm
algorithms. You got to post constantly. But I appreciate you throwing yourself up there because you're doing your thing, and the quality in it is superb, man. Props to you.
Thank you, bro. I really appreciate that. You know, it's funny you mention it because I've got a couple comments recently about just the work I've been putting in.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just a new fire that's been lit
Hmm.
underneath me. I'm a very competitive guy.
Yeah.
yeah.
I know I joke a lot. You know, I have a good personality. I feel like, you know, I'm always smiling, but deep down, I am a competitor. And so I actually just went through contract negotiations, funny enough, with KV. So, and one thing that came out of those negotiations was just like my value, right? And
Yeah.
so where does my value land?
Hmm.
And, um, you know, saying it without saying too much, but it's just like I felt a little undervalued in those negotiations. And so it's like, okay, bet, like I'm gonna show you
Yeah.
like what I can really do.
Yeah.
And so this is basically like me kind of proving that I'm not just a fun guy in the studio, or
Yeah.
I'm not just a
Yeah.
great guy doing interviews one on one with the players. Like I can
Yeah.
Yep.
also capture social and digital, and also control that as well.
Yeah.
And so I'm really trying to
Nice.
show that I can do everything. And hopefully one of these networks can call your boy. You know what I'm saying? But
Hey,
in the meantime, I'm gonna just continue to grind and
Yeah.
continue to push out great content. Like I got a video after this I'm gonna post from this Harrison Barnes thing I did today. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
nice.
I've been grinding. I appreciate you for saying that and
Yeah.
acknowledging
Yeah,
it
for
because
sure.
you know, heck, I don't get it from my own people. So it's glad to hear it from people from the outside.
Yeah,
Well,
man. It
hell, I
does,
mean,
man.
Tim's still in my thunder because I was going to give you the floor so you could talk a little about what you've been working on.
Oh, my bad.
And where people can
My
follow
bad.
you.
My
Tim
bad.
got to jump the gun. He's always so excited. So
My
Cory, I mean, obviously we just talked about TikTok, and actually I stole the idea of today's shows from your TikTok yesterday. So talk to us about what you've been working on. Where can the people find you? We'll do a recap as well, but for those that don't
Yeah.
know who you are, what you got going on right
Yeah, on TikTok you can find me. Just luckily, I have a great name that no one else has, so it's just literally my name, Cory Mose. And so if you just look that up on TikTok, you found me there, Cory_Mose, I should say. On IG, I've been posting reels as well, Cory_Mose TV, and then Twitter,
now?
same thing, Cory_Mose. So like I'm really easy to find. And something I've been working on, like I just mentioned with the Harrison Barnes thing, he actually had a court unveiling. Him and his wife, they unveiled a new court at the Boys and Girls Club in the Austin area. And so did a little recap about that. Yeah, it was a really cool event, man. It's his second court that he's unveiled. And so
That's awesome.
Harrison, great dude,
Right.
really great dude. I
Right.
had no idea until he came to the Spurs, but does a lot of this community stuff everywhere he's been. Sacramento, Golden State, he's done community things all over. And
That's
so
cool.
he grew up in the Boys and Girls Club, and so he had the heart for them. Yeah. And so just do a little recap about that. But big thing that's coming up is what is it, the 18th? Next week. Yeah. Next week I'll be going to Louisiana, doing the Manning Passing Academy. So
Oh, man.
yeah,
Oh,
they'll be my
sweet. That's dope.
yeah, I got the approval today. So I'm super excited. That's something
Hey,
I like really push for,
Yeah.
because
yeah,
at the end of the day, like the way I see it, like I said, I'm very competitive. And so I'm like, look, no other TV stations go down to Louisiana for that thing, which I'm like, which is crazy. It's crazy because if you have that much access to not only Arch, I get it, like Arch is a big time deal, but K Klubnik's going to be there. You
Yep.
know, if you
yep,
want to go to Westlake angle, Austin Novosad,
Mhm.
he's going to be there from Oregon, Dripping Springs quarterback. So,
Yep.
to me, the value is there for TV, but we just don't want to make that move. So I told my boss, it's like, look, I'll go on my own dime if it takes that way, but luckily it's not going to go that way, because I pitched it and they see the value in it. But
Right.
it's like,
yeah.
yeah, dude, like let's go all in on this thing because to
Yeah.
me, we need to be there. Especially we can talk to Arch one on one, get to know him a little bit more. So I'm excited for that content to get dropped next week, and
Yes, sir. That's
super
awesome.
excited.
That's
That's
what's
cool.
hmm
up. It's interesting to hear how like the local market approaches these things versus like the national media,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So it's interesting when you say, nobody's going, but to me it's like you guys have the easiest of accesses to get there because New Orleans is like what, 8 hours away
It's 8 hours
from us?
yeah,
away. It's a 2 hour
8
flight.
hours away, like a 2 hour flight, and not maybe a little over that. So
Maybe,
it's
yeah,
like,
maybe, yeah, maybe.
yeah, it's interesting to see. So that's dope. Really, really. I mean, that's cool. I hope you have a good time there. I'm sure. Listen, I don't know if you guys know this, but I've been watching a lot of video on Diabell.
oh yeah.
People are so excited about Arch Manning, and obviously understandable. Diabell is going to be
He's
a
gonna be a
star.
problem.
He just
That
won
dude is
MVP,
going to be.
right? Day
Yeah.
one
Yeah, he
MVP.
just won
Right.
Yeah.
MVP at the Elite 11 camp
Yep.
for I think the second year in a row.
Yeah.
Uh, that dude's going to be good.
Okay, so
And
let me ask you. I don't want to start controversy 'cause I don't know these kids at all. So I'm not gonna act like I know them. But KJ, what happens? You know what I'm saying? Because I get it. Like Dia he
He's a
looks
truth.
the part. He is
yeah,
different. But don't forget, like KJ
KJ
here.
looks good too, man,
KJ
and he's
is
already on
So
campus.
exactly. So my thing is
Yeah,
like, okay, is that a situation like a Arch and Quinn thing again? Where you
it
may give
might be.
KJ the lean and
Yeah.
then wait for Dia, or do you just give Dia the reins, once he gets here? So I mean, but actually, what am I doing? Trey Owens is a dog. I do
That's
know
what I'm
Trey.
saying. Like
I mess
we
with
were
Trey heavy.
we
Trey
were
can
talking
throw it.
to
Trey can fling that rock, man.
we were talking to Nash last week, and it's like we're talking about like Arch Manning, like he's like the only quarterback on this roster.
Yeah,
And I think like us as Texas fans, right? Like we're kind of jaded, right? Because like for the last, before Quinn, even before Quinn got here, right? The previous 10, 15 years of quarterback play were so bad,
Mhm.
mediocre or bad.
yeah,
Like this is what we're used to, but now we're just like, well, what about this guy? Well, what about this guy? Well, what about this? Like we need to enjoy the level of quarterback play we're gonna
Mhm.
have for the next guaranteed 10 years,
Yep.
right?
yeah,
Arch, KJ, Trey Owens, Diabell. There's a guy in the 27 class that they're really, really high on. Like, and Sark is a quarterback guy.
Yeah.
And so it was always interesting to me when people are like, well, Quinn could have won us a national title. It's like, what have we done before Quinn that we're so like overzealous on what he didn't do?
Yeah.
It's the
Like, help
I
me
fandom.
totally agree.
understand what.
It's the
Yeah.
fandom. It's the fandom.
Yeah.
We have such high expectations, but like I mentioned last year, what we need to really sit back and realize is that we are sitting with a team that has an embarrassment of riches, pretty much everywhere on the every position. And we need to really just kind of chill, like it was like we mentioned last week. Like
Yeah.
we've got guys we got blue chippers on top of blue chippers on top of blue chippers, and now we're concerned about other guys. Now we know that these other guys can ball, but like we don't even really know what Arch can do. You know what I'm saying? We've
Low
only got
key.
a sample size of what Arch can do. We know he can throw the rock. We know he can run. And we know that he's not scared of contact. We know that, which kind of scares me. I don't want him to get too
Yeah.
don't get too big now. But
Yep.
we know what he can do based on the sample size that we've had, but it's only a sample size. We don't know what he's gonna do. Again, we all know he's gonna have one of them bonehead games coming up where he throws an interception against a very, very weak team. He's gonna have an opportunity to close out something, and he might not get a throw off, or he might miss a check down, an opportunity. He might fumble. Those are going to be parts of being a young quarterback. He is a young quarterback still, even though he's been at Texas for a couple of years now. So we need to really pump the brakes, enjoy what's happening. Again, I'm hoping that he comes in, he knocks it out the park. I'm really hoping this is some Vince Young, Colt McCoy type thing where you give him the ball and you just let him go, let him do what he wants to do, let him orchestrate that offense and let him get moving. But right now, like, we still need to relax.
Yeah.
Well, relax a little bit.
I got two comments. I got two
Go
comments
for
on
it.
what you just said. One, we're seeing what Sark is building, like we saw at Alabama, right? Like
Huh?
Yeah.
just every year reload, and it's like, yeah, we have this 5-star, this third string, so
Mhm.
wait your turn, and everyone's okay with it, and that's what to me
That's
is
the great
different
part.
between this program and every other program,
Yep.
maybe like Ohio State's, of course, of the world, but guys are willing to sit, and they're just like, I see what happens when I do get my shot and I do wait and I do develop my body and we
Yep.
have success. And so
Yep.
I think with that, you have guys already buying in, and you
Mhm.
have the guys that are old in the locker room that people want to follow. And so
Right.
with that type of relationship, it's a match made in heaven. And then you go back to the quarterback position, just like Sark had in Bama, that run that they had, think about it. They went from like Jalen Hurts to Tua, and
Yeah.
then to Bryce Young, and
Mhm.
then to Milrow. Like they have had quarterbacks
Yeah.
like Texas is about to see
Yeah.
when it sees this run of quarterbacks. And so I'm excited. I know Sark is excited to see it. I'm excited to cover it,
Yeah.
and to be a part of it. But the other thing I wanted to note was that Arch being young, right? And it just hit my head. This literally just came to my mind. Uh, it's such a benefit that he's in this world of college football. Because if this was 10 years ago, being a young quarterback, you make that one mistake or those two mistakes in that game, season's over.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
It's a
I mean,
done
at that
deal.
point, if you
You're-
lose 2-3, you're done.
Yeah.
And that's what it used to be in the old BCS era. And
Yep.
so I'm glad that Arch now has the opportunity to maybe have a dud in a couple games, maybe lose 2 games in the
Yeah.
regular season, and still be able to make the playoffs.
Right.
And so big moments come, he's ready for that. And
Yeah.
so I am excited for that type of like growth for Arch, and it's
Mhm.
not as much of a detriment or a penalty as it
Right.
would have been 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think the other thing, it's like probably what's a little bit more impressive about Sark and the quarterbacks that he's bringing in now is that he's having to fight NIL, right?
Mm.
And these guys are staying, even though he has to fight NIL as like as an obstacle, right? As a potential roadblock. And that has like that run at Alabama they had, like, I mean, where else were those guys going to go? Like, they could have
Yeah.
transferred, but the
Right.
transfer rules were so much more different than they are now.
Mhm. Yeah.
Obviously, with Jalen Milrow being more of a recent like example, but he's fighting NIL, and these guys are still staying.
That's a good
Right?
point.
And I think that's what's even more impressive about what Sark's doing here than what was happening at Alabama is that these guys are still saying, even though NIL is a factor into that. So I think that brings even some. I think that's just even more impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what happens with Trey.
That's
Because
going to be
if
the first
that's
thing.
that's
Yeah.
gonna be the one, right? Yeah, that's gonna be the
Yeah.
one where it's like, okay, you bring in this veteran.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm not Nash. I don't know everything. I don't know what the veteran's name is that transferred. But you bring in this
Oh
veteran
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
to
Yep.
basically be the backup for Arch.
Mhm.
And so Trey's maybe looking around like, well, I've been here for a year. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you have this 4-star behind me and KJ. Then you got this 5-star coming.
Yep.
And so I am interested to see how Trey kind of
Where does it
falls.
maneuver? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
yeah, that's something I'm keeping my eye out on.
No, that's a good point. And I think we're all interested just to see like because overall, really, this is kind of a young quarterback room again because you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got like guys that are for a couple of years, but there's not a lot of starts. But there's two starts between all four of them now that you can look back on and say, man, experience wise, there's not a lot back there, right? Um, but
But that's the
speaking of
whole
our
offense, though. It seems like. Yeah, I'm about to say it seems like the
yeah,
whole offense. I mean,
yep,
outside of DJ Campbell, right? Like, who else has
the
like
offensive
really
line is brand new,
you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Wide receivers, they were Ryan and DeAndre.
DeAndre, that's it.
Like that's not a
I
lot of
mean, you can
experience.
call you. I guess you can count Jack Endrick, right? He's got some experience at the
Yeah,
tight
Jack.
end position coming in from Cal.
He's gonna be a
Um,
dog, bro.
he's gonna be
He's
so
gonna be
Yeah.
a
good.
dog.
I'm very
He's gonna be a
excited for
dog.
him.
He's gonna
He's
be a
gonna be
dog.
so good. Jack
He's gonna be a
Endrick,
dog.
man. People were
How
talking
about
about
this
Jordan
run for tight
Washington,
ends?
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How many Texas is with
but look at it
Jatavian,
though.
Gunner, now
That's
Jack?
Sark building though, right? Like we haven't had that. We've had guys that have played well, but even the guys that have played well under Tom Herman, this is why I can't stand the Tom Herman era. Like people that say 5-star talent, like 3-star results, like that was a Tom Herman thing, right?
Yeah.
Like because they brought in so many talented guys, like
Mhm.
recruiting wise. Tom Herman was an excellent recruiter, right?
He was
He just couldn't
he was
develop
fantastic. Yeah.
that dude couldn't develop a flower. Like I don't know like what was going on, but then you look at those guys moving on from like Texas. These guys were making NFL rosters as like
Yeah.
6th round, 7th round,
Yeah.
undrafted guys, and it's like you had the talent, you just
Yeah.
couldn't coach them up.
And they were competing and making plays and
Making rosters and
roster
starting.
moves and starting in playoff games and
Jared Wiley.
Yeah,
it's very interesting how that all kind of developed there. Uh, but I'm looking forward to see what Sark is going to do here. Again, we've got just talent stacked on top of each other, and what we also fail to realize is there are probably opportunities where these kids are being talked to and giving opportunities to go play at other schools for higher and more money, and
yeah,
they're turning down the money and they're staying. So it's like I don't necessarily know what's going on, but I like it. I'm cool with what's going on because to be able and sometimes they say winning does solve everything. Maybe people are just like, man, I would rather be a winner than get an opportunity to get this money and then we possibly squander it, or like I'm gonna blow through it anyway, or there's some guys that they know that they're gonna end up in the league.
yeah,
It's very
Yeah.
small
Colin Simmons.
few. It's a very small few of them, but they know they're going to the league, right? Some of these guys that may not know, I don't necessarily know how my future is going to end. If they at least get an education at the University of Texas, that degree is world renowned. Like people know about that. So
yep,
you get an opportunity to get some money in your pocket. You get an opportunity to win. You get an opportunity to develop, possibly go play somewhere else, maybe in your senior season, but still be able to have an opportunity to win. This is a really good situation for everybody, fans and
Yeah.
players. So it really just depends on where you fall on that line there. So I know there's some people that are still against the whole, we don't need to play players. I'm past all that.
Yeah, get over that.
That's,
We're in a
that's
new
over and
age.
done with,
it's not
Grandpa.
changing. Yeah, it's
It's
not
over and
We're in
changing.
a
done
new
with,
age.
Stop
Grandpa.
crying about it.
Now,
Exactly.
putting a cap on it, kind of getting to understand, kind of bringing it back in, reeling it back in, that I'm okay with that. But
Yep.
you older guys, y'all got to get over that. That's over and done with.
For
You know,
sure.
it's crazy. You mentioned about the people that not only the alumni, but the guys that are right next to you in the dorm room,
Hmm.
right? Who are they going to become?
Right.
And I
Yeah.
think a lot of the guys on the roster, they're recognizing that and realizing, man, this classmate, he may be the CEO of Apple in a
Yeah.
couple years, you know? And so no one talks about that about Texas, about what that brings to the table. You
Hmm.
know, not just the money, not just the program, but the people and the students at the school. They become very important people in this society.
Yeah.
And so if you know these guys, if you're friends with these guys in class, you have no idea what that can do for your future. That's something that Jay Witt told me, you know, why he chose to come back and finish his degree and do his thing. Because like
Man, that's
there's
all.
so many important people
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
university, not just alumni, but just at the university right now that they're going to school with, that those relationships can flourish and you don't know where that's going to take you.
Man, that's awesome. That's really dope. Developing young men, man. That's what Sarkis mentions all the time. He's in the business of not only developing football players, but great young men and men that contribute to society. So, shout
Yeah,
out.
you don't just say that either. Look at the GPA.
Yeah.
Look at the team GPA.
Yeah.
It's not just all talk. Like there's action behind it, you
Yeah.
know. And
That's for
so
sure.
wins are going up, GPA is going up. I wholeheartedly believe, like this is my personal opinion, that
Yeah.
does mean something.
Yeah.
I think that guys that are going to class, that are having good grades, that is a direct correlation to success on the field. I wholeheartedly believe that.
Yeah.
Now some people may not care about school, but
Hmm.
to me, I think it's a big factor.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, you
That
muted.
mic.
You muted.
There goes that mic. There goes that mic.
We didn't talk about it. That's hilarious.
Uh,
There we go. There we go.
we good now? All right, we're good. Yeah, yeah, we're good.
A little echo, a little echo, a little echo.
Oh.
Un momento. And as we wait, though,
Now, what about now? No.
still about the same.
That's not- While Harish fixes his mic here, Corey, I do have
Hello?
a question for you here. How, you've been around and had the opportunity to really be around this Longhorn football team throughout the past season, this
Mhm.
past summer, and going into the next season. What are some of the things you did mention GPA and how you feel like that reflects on the field there? What are some things that you've noticed that maybe people aren't necessarily talking about, maybe within team chemistry? Whether it's maybe you're seeing something between two players that you really think that could be special next season, going into next season. What are some things that we as fans may not be able to see because we don't have that direct access that you have had the opportunity to see?
Yeah, I think the guys that go to these camps, and I
Mhm.
know we wanted to talk about Arch in St. Louis.
Yeah.
To me, that says a lot. Like
Mhm.
I wholeheartedly believe that the guys that pull up to these camps, they are either really tight
Mhm.
together, or what surprised me was Nick Brooks
Mhm.
going to St. Louis.
Right.
To me, that's like, all right, I see you, Nick.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're hanging out with Arch, you're hanging
Yeah.
out with Ryan Wingo,
Yeah.
Debo. Where are you going to fill this offensive line? All
Right.
right, so you must be
Right.
making some plays.
Right.
That's the type of stuff that I'm like, okay, let's put a pin in that and
Right.
let's recognize that, because they're not just inviting Nick just because he's one of the guys. It
Right.
just doesn't
Right.
work like that.
Right.
They know how this whole exposure, and they know when you go somewhere with somebody, especially with
Mhm.
Arch, it's going to be everywhere. So
Right.
who are you moving with in these
Right.
communities? Same thing with Michael Taft. Michael Taft had a camp. Surprisingly, he partnered with Jordan Washington. And
Oh, okay.
again, exactly. They went up to Westlake. They had a camp at Westlake. And again, it's like Taft and Washington,
Right. Yeah.
Washington's not from the area. He's from
Yeah.
Houston.
No. No.
But like there's a reason Taft
Mhm.
picked Jordan to partner with them.
Right.
And what I came to the conclusion of is that I'm sure Taft is guarding Washington at
Mhm.
practice at that
Right.
safety position,
Right.
and so he's probably like, this kid is good.
Right.
Let me spend some more time with him, and
Right.
so I think those are the type of things that fans should really pay attention to,
Mhm.
because they're not just moving and going across the country with
Right.
random guys on his roster. These are
Right.
boys. These are guys that they expect to have a big season.
Mhm.
And I think, again, that says a lot. And so with Arch and Wingo doing their thing,
Mhm.
I always thought that Arch, from the spring game last year, you saw it,
Mhm.
of just the different connections that Wingo was able to have with Trey Owens. During the regular season, you had it with Arch.
Mhm.
And so Wingo, he's just, I feel like he's a wide receiver that every quarterback loves.
Right.
But I'm excited to see that connection because clearly they're tight. And I know Demo as well. You know, that beautiful ball. I remember what game was that last year? Mississippi State when
Mhm.
he threw that ball down the sideline to Demo Archstead, and he
Yeah.
had that fake hammy pull celebration. That was pretty cool. But that type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Demo's in St. Louis with them.
Right.
And so that's the type of stuff that like it shows a lot to me about the team chemistry, but also who's going to make impactful plays on the field. I know, you know, it's small. It's maybe I'm reading too much into it,
Right.
but I do think it's a like, look, you shake your head.
I mean,
You agree
Can
with
you
me?
can you
yeah,
hear me now?
yeah,
Yeah,
we got you. We
yeah.
got you.
I don't know, it's some weird connection thing. No, I think there is a connection there, right? Like,
Mhm.
I think you talked about in that video that you made yesterday. You talked about relationships and like
Hmm.
you talked about like how important those relationships are going to be on the field. Like, who are you going to rely on to go get that ball that you're going to throw over the top of the secondary's head, right?
Right.
And they're going to be in the right position to catch that ball. Oh, probably the guy that you went to St. Louis to, who's never been there before, or maybe the guy that's never been to Westlake High School out there on 360 in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's the guy you're going to rely on
Yep.
Saturday to make that big play when that big moment happens. And I think like it also like goes and ties back into like the GPA stuff, right? All this stuff kind of goes together. Who's smart enough to even understand that that's going to be that I'm going to go to, or that's going to be the thing that I'm looking at? Well,
Right.
maybe the guy with the 3.5 GPA will understand that this is like you talk
yeah,
about 5 stars working with 5 stars, and you talk about like 1,000 IQ like football plays, like
Hmm.
that guy that knows that I'm going to do that because he has the GPA in the classroom. And then we also have the relationship off the field.
Right.
That's probably going to be the guy that knows that I'm going to throw this ball off of your back shoulder, and you need to be at this, whatever, like yard marker 5 yards down the field to make that catch,
Yeah.
right? I don't think you're looking too deep into that at all. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's
From a
important.
football's perspective, they're hanging out outside of football and what you're supposed to be doing, hanging out, building those relationships. That does transition onto the field. I've seen it. I've seen it up close. You hang around with somebody long enough, you understand their tendencies. You understand what they're looking at. You create this bond where you're on the field. You might even be able to communicate without having to really open your mouth and communicate openly. And you might be able to give them a look. You may be able to give them a sign, something like that. Tom Brady and Randy Moss, they talk all the time about like how they were on the field and what they would basically do and like how they would like kind of just hang out. Not all the time, but they hung out enough to understand each other. And then by the time that they got to the games here, bro, like
yeah,
he, it was just a simple hand gesture that Randy said that he would do, and Tom knew exactly where to put it. He knew exactly where to put it. He knew how to put the ball up there. He knew where Randy wanted to have the ball put up there. Same thing if you listen to Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman is fantastic. He goes into so much
he's
detail.
pretty good. Yeah, I
Oh
like him.
God, he
I like
goes into so much detail of what he did to create a bond with Tom Brady. He was flying across the country to go to Tom Brady. Hey, I'm letting you know I'm gonna be. I'm whenever you need me, just let me know. Tom's like, listen, I'm in California. You want to come out and catch some balls? Julian Edelman on the next flight out there, same day situation out there catching routes, catching balls from Tom Brady running routes. You see what that turned into. They turned, he went from Randy Moss to Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman is a former quarterback from Kent State
him.
out here routing people up, catching, crazy passes from Tom Brady. So it goes to show that like building those relationships outside the football field, whether you're doing football on your own or you're at a football camp or you're just kicking it and traveling with each other, that builds some type of chemistry. And what's crazy, Corey, is the amount of people that were there with Arch
Yeah,
and more. It was or Wingo, excuse me. I was blown. I
yeah.
was at first
Colin Simmons, Aaron Butler.
when I saw the
Like,
picture, I
wow.
thought it was fake. I thought somebody like I thought somebody like that was AI generated almost because it didn't look real. But then I was like, wait a minute, like this
Yeah,
really did happen. This really did happen. And I'm like, oh man, this is big. And people started. What's crazy is that I've seen more people that are not Texas fans trip out and like, yo, this is gonna be something versus Texas fans. I've heard almost nothing from Texas fans about this Arch Manning situation, about him going to Wingo's camp out in St. Louis. So I'm just like, are we really fans? We just, or do we just care when they're on the field? Because I care about everything. I care.
Yeah.
I want to know how your mama doing. I want to know how your mama and your recruits. I want to know what Lambo you sat on when you went to recruiting, when you took your pictures, cut your hair. Like that's what I care about. I'm a fanatic to the core. I want to know about it all, especially from a football perspective. So it's like, again, when I to tie this back in, when I hear people complaining about, oh, such and such, or we got this quarterback, we got this, I'm like, y'all don't really care. You only care about the results on the field. You don't care about what these guys do outside, because what Ryan Wingo is doing for his community is really dope. And to be able to bring Arch Manning and those guys that are going to be future NFL players and future NFL All-Stars, that's amazing. Because a lot of these kids are not going to be able to see that.
Yeah, and this isn't the first time we've seen guys go across the country. Remember last year, Leonga LaFau brought guys over to where he's from. You know, and that was dope to see that all of them go out there. And so this is the culture that everyone keeps talking about. And you know, I try not to be a fan because I'm trying to be an unbiased journalist. Like that's literally what my job is. But I do get frustrated when like these national pundits or guys on like SEC Network that aren't here talk about Texas unknowingly, you know, because when you're here, you see the culture that they describe, because these are guys that are putting their bodies on the line for each other, which every team does, but they're also meeting each other's families. You know, they're also going out there and shaking hands with the kids in their communities. And so like, that's a real deal. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's funny. I had people in my comments on that TikTok y'all watch talking about like, oh, every team does this. You know, every
no, they don't.
I'm like, no, they don't, bro. No, they like don't. And I hate TikTok comments because they're just so naive.
Yeah,
but it's
just
like tell me who from Bama is flying across the country to California to go support their teammates' camp.
Right.
Name them. I literally commented on someone. I like name them. No response back. No, but like, of course not. You know, but it's something that comes with, you know, the Texas brand or whatever. And so I just wholeheartedly believe that, you know, stuff like that is what national pundits don't really see. And I'm glad that I can see it on a local level. This is also why I wish ESPNs and the Fox Sports of the world, like they interview local reporters, because we are actually in the locker rooms. We are talking to the guys. We are at these camps, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother conversation. But to go back to the St. Louis thing, this is something I hypothesized last year, especially after that Arch Manning touchdown against A&M.
When he scrambled when he scrambled for the touchdown, the
reaction video, the camaraderie around Arch, right? And it's something that I kind of like thought about going into last season, and then as last season went, Arch made a couple starts. You know, people started to talk about him and the way he was at practice and how much of a guy's guy is. You know what I'm saying? He's cool in the locker room. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, from Louisiana, you know, from the boot, you know? And so, like, it kind of makes sense. But then, like, that run touchdown solidified it for me. It was like, these guys will run through a brick wall for Arch. Not saying they weren't going to do it for Quinn.
Right.
But Quinn's not going across the country. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, Quinn's boys was Gunnar Helm, Jake Majors, Hayden Connor. You know what I'm saying? There's a thing there.
Yeah.
With Arch is kind of it's Derek Williams. You know, they were both from Louisiana. That's his boy.
Yeah.
You know, it's Demo. It's Wingo. You know, like that means something, especially coming from a black man. Like, and seeing this, right? And I'm interested to see how that plays a factor for this team, because it's a real like, we like to try to like downplay it, but it's a real deal. You know, it really is. For a guy, for a white dude to like be like, you invited to the cookout, like that's a real thing on the football field. And so I am interested to see how that plays a factor into the team chemistry, and to that locker room buy-in of having a quarterback that is vocal, and how that kind of differentiates from years past. Like, Quinn's a great leader. You know, you can hear Jade Barron talk about it. Matthew Golden talked about it, you know,
Yeah.
in his pre-draft interviews about how much of a leader Quinn is. But he's a silent leader
Right.
when he speaks up in moments.
Right.
But Arch, he's the vocal leader from the get-go.
Yeah.
And so interested to see how that dynamic works and fluctuates throughout this season.
Yeah. For sure.
There's two things there that you called out. Like, number one, obviously, like who's taking him there, right? Like,
Right.
like that does matter, right? Like you're going to St. Louis and you know you're this white guy in St. Louis. Like, that's a big deal, right?
He's in the
Like,
hood too.
and
He's
like
in the
it's
hood.
in the hood. Like,
He's in the
that,
hood. Throwing
you
it
like
off.
when you were
Throwing it
listen,
up,
when
bro.
you're
Throwing
invited
it up
to the
is
cookout,
crazy.
it's yeah. When you're invited to
He
the
didn't do no
cookout
peace
as a
sign.
white,
No.
yeah.
Throw it up. You throw it up.
When you're invited to the cookout as a white guy, that's
He
a
threw
big
it up.
deal.
It's a
Yeah.
big
That's
deal.
It's a big deal.
big deal. But from
Yeah,
a
I get he's
leadership
from the boot,
perspective,
but
it's a big deal, right? Like these guys, like they're bought in, right? They're you don't need to convince me. Like it felt like with Quinn, not Kim, with Quinn. Sometimes it was kind of like, hey, and it was mostly Sark pumping up. Hey,
Mhm.
Quinn, like guys in the locker room, you know, they respect Quinn and they blah 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 blah, like leadership, blah 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 blah, right? I haven't heard Sark even have to mention how good of a leader he is, like
Not at
because
all.
we're seeing it, right?
Right.
yeah,
The second thing is
great point. It's a great point.
yeah. The second thing is as someone who's followed a Manning his entire life, right? I'm not surprised by this whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right? He's a Manning at the end of the day. Like his personality, the way he speaks to the media, the way he acts just in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Manning's the same way. Everybody loves Peyton Manning. He's a funny guy. He's a cool dude. When he talks to the media, he speaks in a certain way. Eli, he's a funny guy. He's a cool dude. Eli Manning was just on a set at A&M, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making fun of their cheerleaders or whatever you yell, whatever the hell you want to call it. Right?
Yell leaders.
Show
Show a little
dog.
respect.
Man,
Show a
cheer,
little
yell.
respect.
They all
They
do
just
the
got
same
KJ
thing.
Edwards, bro. Show a little respect.
Yeah, they
KJ
did just
Edwards.
pull off KJ Edwards. That hurt.
I mean, KJ Edwards is going to know that most of the running backs can't run for more than 5 yards or score a touchdown. So he'll figure it out soon. But point being is like
he shoot him all. This is him all the time, Cory.
Yeah, I just want to make sure
every day.
people know that I am not affiliated. You know what I'm saying? I do not
You
condone.
they don't call
you
it fan battle for no reason. You know what I mean? That's the whole point. So, but I mean, to my point, it's just like
Mhm.
this is who they are as a family. Like this is who everybody in that family is. And Cooper, his dad, Cooper's the same way. He's a funny guy. He likes to crack jokes, and so yes, he's people naturally gravitate towards him. Maybe the name helps, right? But his personality, his drive to want to win, his being able to run through a brick wall on the field will make people want to run through a brick wall with you off the field. And so, like, while it's cool for the national pundits to see it, those of us, like you said, the local guys, this is who he's always been since he's been on campus.
Yeah.
Nothing is new to us, and that's probably why, not a lot of Texas fans are relating to this because we're not surprised. This doesn't shock us at all.
Right.
This is who he is,
Right.
and this is who he will continue to be. I just wanted to throw those two. I thought that
was good points.
us,
Good points.
we're
Yeah,
not surprised by this at all.
There was one other guy I forgot to mention when it comes to like who is he hanging out with.
Mhm.
Parker Livingstone.
Really?
Him and Arch are tight.
Ooh, they're tight.
So like again, to me,
Mm-hmm.
what does that say? We've heard a lot about Parker, like in different reports at practice, and I mean, he has the size, he has the speed, he's got a year underneath his belt now. I'm interested to see if he plays a factor in his offense this year as well. But just want to throw that out there.
If you were to guess today, and since we're talking about wide receivers and Parker Livingston, who would you think the top 3 receivers on this team would be right now?
I think it's Wingo, DeAndre Moore Jr., and the transfer.
Oh, I forgot about the transfer. The guy from Stanford.
Stanford, right? Yeah.
Oh,
The tight end.
No,
the
the
wide
wide
receiver.
receiver.
Oh,
Emmett Mosley, I think.
you're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
Mosley.
You're right.
Emmett Mosley.
You're right.
Yeah, that's probably the 3.
They're
in my
gonna
opinion
have
right
some.
now.
They're gonna have some packages out for Parker's 6'4", man. Good
You see
God.
it?
Yeah,
You
he's
see
a
how
big
deep
kid,
we
bro.
are?
He's a big kid, bro. He's a big
He's
kid.
6'4".
He's a big kid, bro.
Good
Yeah,
God,
so
man. That's a big boy right there.
yeah, bro. Country too. From East Texas.
Really? Have you had a chance to
Yeah.
chat with him yet at all?
I have not, but that is one dude that I'm like, I want to get to know you. You know, you seem
Right,
like a
right,
cool
right.
cat. You know, I think CJ Vogel's cool with him, if
Okay.
I can remember correctly. But yeah, I think CJ followed his recruiting trail.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm.
That's
yeah,
one
yeah.
thing they get over me. They get over that the local news, the On Three guys and the Orange Bloods guys because the recruiting. They meet these high schoolers before
Oh
we
yeah,
do.
Well, that's
yeah.
their
So
bread and butter, right? Like that makes a
yeah,
lot of sense. That's their bread and butter. And then we've had some of the Orange Bloods guys on in the past. We've had Anwar
That Mike
on.
again.
this is
Dang
going in
it!
and
Can
out.
you hear me? Hello,
Yeah, I
hello.
mean, yeah, you're good. You're good now. But
Now
it's
you
just
good
We've
now.
had we've had Anwar on the show. Shout out to him. We've
Yeah.
had who else have we had? We've
Chad.
had Chad on the show before. So
okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're pretty cool with those guys. And again, it's just like being able to talk to different types of people and just like see different viewpoints. And those guys at Orange Bloods, man, that's how Jeff built the company. He
Yeah,
built it
Jeff
off
is
Yeah.
recruiting.
he's a beast, man.
And
Jeff
we've
is
known Jeff since we were kids. Like we
yeah,
grew up listening.
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's funny. We met Jeff last year, and we were telling him, was like, dude, I don't think you. And we weren't trying to age him, right? But I don't think you noticed this, but like, or you probably don't know this, but we've been listening to you since we were in middle school because
Yep.
That is
they used to
awesome,
be
though.
the local guys. They
Yeah.
used to be like on local, like the Horn 104.9. Like
Yep.
that's how we knew Jeff and Chad, and then
Yep.
and their voices, and so it's kind of cool to like meet them in person. But like, we've been following you guys like, forever.
Yeah.
Like,
Since
that's how long
before
we've
they
been following
before 104.9 when they was at
the
the
zone.
zone. The
Yeah,
zone.
yeah.
Wow.
Way back.
Is it kind of like Craig Way too? Craig Way the same way?
Greg
Yep. Yep.
Way,
Craig Way.
Sean Adams,
Sean Adams, rest in peace.
yeah, rest in peace,
Yep.
man. Like we go way deep when when it comes to like listening to Texas folks, man. Like it was super cool, but yeah, man. I think it's just like the niches of what they have and like the
Mm-hmm.
access. But then you get all the access when they're on the field, right? When they're in
Yeah.
campus, and so it's interesting to see the different viewpoints of like CJ followed him all the way there, but then you're there and he's here now, and you get like all these unique
You
opportunities.
get to watch him develop from freshman to whenever
Yeah.
he wants to make
Yeah.
his transition. So that's really cool to watch, man. That's really dope, and that's why we have this here because we want to not only are we interested, but we have a community of people that are interested in hearing what from local to national. What they have to think about, just Texas in general, whether it's football, volleyball, baseball, it doesn't matter. That's why we had Nash on here like last week, and we really just kind of sat back, asked him a bunch of questions on how he felt about stuff throughout the season, and really
Yeah.
just let him go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was it was real special to just kind of sit back and just let him. He just went through player position. He was able to talk about games off the top of his dome, plays off the top of his dome, what he felt like different people are going to be able to contribute in the next year, and what prospects that are coming in, what they're going to be able to contribute, how he felt about the MLB draft coming up. The MLB draft is a couple weeks away. He's like, I really don't, because I asked him like straight up, I was like, what do you think? Where do you feel that this team moves next? They've had this 1 year. They've had this opportunity to really do some good. They made some noise in the SEC. Where do they go from here? And he was very blunt and very honest. And he was like, I won't know until after the MLB draft because there's
Yep.
opportunities for prospects and players that are on the Texas team to go to the draft, and they might get drafted. And so he feels like I'm really kind of holding everything to the chest until after that draft because there still might be an opportunity for players to kind of move around after that as well. And so he felt like it was best to just kind of just pump the brakes on that. So I look forward to hearing what he has to say after the MLB draft, because I am interested in this team. I really haven't been interested in Texas baseball like that ad nauseum since Augie. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And
Okay.
Augie was something special, and he had some great runs there. but it's been hard to watch Texas because they've had some pitching issues. They had these big bats. They able to light up a scoreboard at any point in time, and that's been a thing. But pitching just hasn't been as strong as it has been in the past with those older Augie teams. So with the prospects that we've got coming in, we've got this monster of a guy that's supposed to be coming in and transferring in, and we've got 2 transfers actually on that baseball team that are going to be like pretty good guys. And
They just picked up one today, the Aiden Robbins from Seton Hall.
See, it's more.
Yeah,
It's more. It's
yeah,
as we speak. It's more.
Literally just saw. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
more.
Literally just saw.
It's
One
more
of the top
guys
hitters in the
coming
portal,
in.
bro.
So to just kind of sit there and talk to Nash and kind of just pick his brain, like I look forward to doing that whenever we have an opportunity, especially like you have an opportunity to kind of really talk to these guys, really develop a relationship with these guys from a standard of you're coming in straight out of high school. They don't know what's going on. You get an opportunity to really just kind of sit back and kind of get a feel for how they're experiencing things and really get to see these guys grow on a yearly basis. I've been a fan of watching you and how you've been covering Quinn over the last couple of years, because Quinn is taking some major bumps
Yeah.
from the media. He's been ostracized for a minute. When he's on, and when he's not, and I think a lot of people had higher expectations for Quinn. I think Quinn did what he could while he was healthy.
Yeah.
We really had some real opportunities there to kind of cash in and really, make some noise there. But he was just injured, and when you happen to have things like that, even when he played against Georgia, he wasn't in the best of health. He was coming off a lower leg injury. So like we were going into a situation against Georgia. They were coming in here. All they knew about was Texas. All they knew was that Texas this, Texas that, and Georgia thumped us. And so he took a lot of that. But you were there, and you were able to get just kind of an analysis of how that Texas team was feeling, and it was awesome to see, and I look forward to seeing more of that.
Yeah, Quinn is he's an interesting case to me because, like you said, when he's healthy, arguably top 3 best quarterbacks
I
ever
agree.
in Texas
Yeah.
history. And so no one wants to talk about that. No
Yeah.
one
Right.
wants to talk about that. Like
Right.
I feel like when Colt left, it was always like, man, he was so great.
Right.
Like he's a Texas legend.
Right.
We love Colt.
Right.
And Colt didn't win a title.
No.
He
got knocked out of
them
the
there.
title
Barely
game.
played in one.
He got them there. Yeah, I give you that. He got them there. But, like, he didn't win a title. And so if we're talking about just winning a title, that's what Quinn should have done with this roster.
Right.
Coach didn't do it either.
Nope.
And so I just didn't understand the hate that Quinn got. After watching, bro, like being on the field for that Big 12 championship, I was in awe of what Quinn was doing. I mean, the way he just dissected Oklahoma State. Right. It was beautiful. It was beautiful football. And so that's the type of stuff that, like, man, why don't y'all remember that? Like, why don't we talk about those games? Right. Where he broke the Big 12 record.
Yeah.
He still owns it. Let's not. He broke history. He made history. Like, what are we talking about? And then dip. Boy, put up the belt and then dip, bro. And then, you talk about Georgia, SEC championship game.
Nobody talks about how good
if Burt would have made those kicks, like, like what are we talking? Like, if Burt would have made the kicks, they would have been SEC champs.
Yeah.
And so, like, that has nothing to do with Quinn.
Right.
And I don't know, bro. Like, I never understood the backlash, and I will never be the journalist or the reporter that will bash a guy without knowing the full story. Right. You know what I'm saying? If it's a situation where it's like, okay, I've heard from this source, this guy's bad in the locker room, or he doesn't show up to practice, stuff like that, then I'll keep it real. Right. But if it's something that I have no idea about and he had a bad game or he may have struggled, I'm not going to say bench him. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not that guy. I've never been that guy. And I get amazed when guys on national TV like have the balls to like do that type of stuff.
Yeah.
When you've never shaken this dude's hand, you've never met this guy in person, but you want to say like he's trash. I've never pondered, fathomed of ever doing something like that. And so I think that's also why guys relate and they approach me and they trust me because they see I am fair. And to me, that's
Yep.
fair. Like, I can't talk trash about you if I don't know you.
Right.
And so I think to me that those guys, they appreciate that. And
Right.
I'm thankful that they see that. They see
Yeah.
the realness out of me, the genuineness.
Hmm.
And I always want to be, of course, supportive, but I also want to be real as well. And
Yep.
so, luckily, since I've gotten here, Texas hasn't been bad. So I've
It's
like
true.
cross your
That
fingers.
helps,
Like,
right?
I
That
kid you
helps.
not, the moment I got here, like it really is wild. Like I look back a couple of days ago, I got here in like 2022, and that was Bijan's last year.
Yep.
Hmm.
And I get to report on Bijan.
Right.
Built a relationship with him,
Right.
got to meet
Right.
him. You know what I'm saying? Beautiful. Volleyball won its national championship.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, softball went far.
Yeah.
Baseball, they didn't make it too far that
Right.
year, but it's
Was that
baseball,
the year
whatever.
that they got built? They got beat up by Vanderbilt.
No, that was the year
No,
they got to supers. Didn't they get to
they
supers
got the
that year?
supers. They
Okay.
got the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
supers.
Okay. Okay.
Basketball, that was the year they went to the Elite Eight
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
with
Yep.
RT. Women's basketball, they did their thing. Well, they lost to Haley Van Lith that
Yep.
year.
Yep.
Yeah, that game was
Appreciate
crazy to
it.
be at.
That game was nuts.
But yeah, it's wild. It's wild. But then you go to the next year, right? Volleyball repeats.
Hmm.
Now football makes it to the semifinal.
Right.
Basketball, they do their thing with RT. We'll do. And then yeah, we'll do. Then softball makes it to the World Series again, but
Right.
they lose this time,
Right.
unfortunately. And then baseball, they had that up and down. Mind
Roller
you, they
coaster
won
of
the
a
Big
year.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Baseball won
year
the
was
Big
crazy
12.
too.
Yeah.
That was a good Big 12
Yeah,
too. Yeah, that was a
yeah.
tough Big 12 that they won.
And so that to me, that's a good season. You
Yeah.
won the Big 12.
Yeah.
And then this past season, right? Same thing. Go to playoff again. Volleyball makes it far. Softball wins it all. Baseball wins the SEC. Soccer wins the SEC.
Hmm.
Yep.
I've just been blessed ever since I've gotten here to not have to cover a bad football team or like major sport team.
Yeah. Boy, it was rough.
Basketball this past year was the closest,
Yeah.
but the closest I got to like, okay, I gotta keep it
Bas-
real. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta keep it
Basketball
real.
was
Like,
bad, man. Like the
it was
talent
bad.
versus the output was
It was
not.
bad. But I wouldn't even say like the talent was like, look, I'm I'm big on you have to give the coach a shot with an IL. Like you have to. I wholeheartedly
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
think
no, I
that
would agree.
Roddy
Yeah.
Terry.
Yeah.
Like if imagine that team last year with JT Toppin. That's all I gotta say. Like
But you
that's
got to
really
spend the
what
money to get a guy like JT Thomas, right?
and it was them or Tech. That was literally the only two teams that was involved. And
Right.
so if he went to Tech, the reason why? Money. Like there's
Right.
no other reason why you would
It
go to
was
Tech.
straight up money at that point.
There was
Yeah.
no other reason why you would go to Tech
Yeah.
You
over
can't
Texas.
wantingly want to go to Lubbock. Like,
No, no. I've been to Lubbock. That's where I started my career in
Right.
West
Right.
Texas. You
Right.
don't want to go to Lubbock, bro. I
Yeah.
promise you. Not as an 18, 19, 20, 21 year old. No, bro.
Yeah.
Not at
Yeah.
all. And so,
Hey, you
yeah,
got money? Oh man. Yeah.
oh,
you
bro.
can't even spend it. They got one outlet
Right.
mall. Like, what? And so that's my thing. And so with RT, like, imagine that team last year with JT Toppin. The one thing they missed last year was a big
Right.
that can defend the rim and that can
Right.
get buckets down low in the post. That's what
Right.
they were missing. And
Yeah.
JT Toppin is literally that. And
Right.
so with you not getting the financial support, I tried like to understand why the team wasn't as good as the years before.
Right.
But at a certain point, it's like you just don't got the talent. You got Zurich going out there, going up there and
Hmm.
getting body.
Yeah.
Caden finally had a healthy season. I will give
Yeah.
him that.
Yeah.
But still, smaller frame,
Right.
skinnier frame.
Yep.
Kind of getting body down low, and so,
Mhm.
especially in the SEC, like there's big dudes in the SEC.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I didn't like the way they went about the whole RT thing when it came
Mhm.
to the NIL, and
Fair.
clearly now with Sean Miller, completely different.
Completely
But
different.
you know what that tells
Completely
me, bro?
different.
You know why it's completely different? You know what that tells me? CDC didn't trust our team.
Mm.
I think there's a trust factor there because here's the
Ooh.
thing: why would you go
Why
bring
hire
in a
him?
brand new coach?
Why
Right.
hire him? You don't trust him.
Well, because he was hot.
Because you were kind of put in a situation where, like,
He was hot at that time.
because he trusted Chris Beard.
Yeah.
Like, if Chris Beard was here, JT Toppin's coming to Texas. Like, I
Yeah.
fully believe,
1000%.
right?
Yeah.
But I think the RT thing was an experiment, and I think in the back of Chris Beard, like, we know how CDC operates. In the back of his head, it was kind of like all right, let's just see what happens, and I will be quick to make an adjustment if things do not go well, because we know how CDC operates, right?
Right.
Sean Miller is now his guy because his guy had kind of screwed him over the first time. But Sean Miller is now his guy. And so therefore it's like, I don't need to give you a waiting period because I hired you for a reason.
Right. Here you
You
go.
already
Here's the
have a
keys.
track record of success.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
it might not be national title success, but it's
Right.
consistent Final Fours, consistent Elite Eights, consistent 16s. Like you've shown that you have had success at, frankly, larger schools in basketball.
Right. And what some people
it's-
would consider lesser talent, with lesser talent, you've been able to kind of produce with lesser talent. Let's see what you can do with this, with an opportunity to get more talent at a
Right.
bigger school on a bigger scale.
Yeah. Plus, I'm going to give you the money to do it. So I think
you
there's a trust factor there.
Yeah.
And I get the RT thing. Like I get it. And listen, what RT was able to do to get us to the Elite Eight was awesome,
Phenomenal.
given the circumstances.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right?
Should have been
So
a
it
Final
shows
Four.
that if he can be given the talent, he can do it. But the problem is like, did CDC trust him enough? And
Yeah.
I don't think the answer is no. Like he wanted him to show that he could
Yeah.
do it. It's almost like your parents. What's the analogy? It's like somebody saying, "I'll give you the job, but you're not going to get your raise until you can show me like a probationary period for a year that you can do."
Yep.
But when you're going into the SEC, you can't do that.
You got to
And I
You
think
can't. You can't set them up
it's
for
the best conference.
failure like that.
It's the
But
best
you
conference.
also have to self-consciously like understand what the risk you're taking by doing. And here's what I say. I think CDC has earned, like, if we're wanting to give like a
Yeah.
token, right, or a pass, CDC has more than earned that.
Yeah, he's done that. Yeah,
Is he the best AD in the country?
Yes. Who's better? What athletic program is performing at every sport the way Texas is? The only sport you can
I
say
agree with
is
you. I agree with you. I just want to see y'all's opinions.
I can't think.
Like there's literally 4 out of 5 directors' cups. Like
Who's
this.
even like who's
What are we
even
talking
close?
about?
Who's even close?
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
Like every major sport,
Yeah.
right? Like that to me, Texas fans have to be so like. I really hope Texas fans take a step back and like understand what's going on right now. Like when it comes to this university, because this isn't normal.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
this
no, it's
success isn't normal. Like I just hope people understand that this isn't like it's what we do. We're Texas. No, not at all.
It's not
People
because we
hate
didn't do
y'all.
it for 15 years.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's not normal.
People hate Texas not because y'all won a lot, just because y'all
Yeah.
are Texas. Now
Right.
y'all are winning a lot, and
Yeah.
so now the hate is really like hate.
Yeah,
But
real
we're
hate.
talking football, we're talking softball, we're talking volleyball, we're talking baseball, we're talking basketball. Let's throw basketball in there, men's and women's,
Yeah.
right? Don't even gotta talk about swimming because we already know
You ain't messing with Texas.
Ain't
you ain't.
nothing close.
You
Right.
ain't touching. You ain't
You
touching
ain't
that.
touching
You ain't
Texas
touching
on
that.
that. You ain't touching Texas.
I mean, soccer, SEC champs, like it is so crazy to me the amount of success. And I was talking to Vic Schaefer the other day, and he mentioned that they have these coaches meetings, these head coaches meetings, and they meet up and kind of like talk and just bounce ideas off each other. And in those meetings, they kind of have like a ranking system, I guess, something like that. And he's looking around and he's like, man, I'm successful. Right? Like I've been to the Final Four.
Yeah.
I got this under my belt. But at Texas, it's like he's probably like 7th on them totem pole.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Because you got guys that have won national championships.
Oh, that's right.
You got dudes that have won national and ladies that have won national championship. Now you put Mike White up there
Yep.
as well.
Yeah.
And so it's like he's looking around the room like, dang, I got to keep up. Like
Right.
I got to catch up. And I think that's what makes Texas so special is because the head coaches are competing with
Right.
each other.
Right.
They're trying to make sure they keep on track of success because they know everyone else is looking for a national title. And that's why Sean Miller said what he said in the introductory. He's like, I'm not here to make it to the Final Four. I'm here to win a national championship
Right.
because everyone else is on campus.
Right.
So that's the
You need that
standard.
attitude, though.
Right.
The standard is the standard, right? Like
Yeah.
that's what's so. But it goes back to what I was saying before. It's like what we're doing across all sports is rare.
Right.
That's why we should be enjoying it more because
Right.
Mhm.
we don't know how long this run's gonna go.
Nah,
It
you're
could
right.
be 10 years. It could be 10 weeks. Like we really don't know
Right.
how long this run is, right? And
and
so,
not to wish any bad will on anybody,
yeah,
but
no,
you're
no, no,
totally
no,
right.
for sure.
Like think about Chris Beard. Like
Yeah.
you never know.
Never know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
never know. One day someone makes a bad decision, and then next thing you know, your program is not where it's supposed to be the next
gotta
5 years.
start over.
Right.
You
Right.
got to start over. And
Yep.
so, you trust that CDC hires the right people,
Yep.
and then you also trust that they don't make dumb decisions in their personal lives, because what they have going on right now with Schaefer, with Mike White, Slosh, of
Yep.
course, getting these
Yep.
big time recruits.
Yep.
We already know what Sark is doing. Those are even Elliott, right?
Mhm.
Elliott's a
Yeah,
proven winner.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he continue. Heck, I can't wait to see Mark Spears' daughter come up
Oh
here and
no.
play. I know
Oh
she's a
no.
beast, bro.
Oh
She's
no.
a beast.
Oh
And
no.
so getting these big names, Jermaine O'Neal's daughter, that like he's getting these big time names.
Right.
And so all of these coaches, they are a star studded class.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sets this program apart from other programs. And I'm just fascinated by now they don't want to leave. Like there's no reason to leave. And I think that's the difference between this program and other programs, right? Like, there's no exactly. You get in the bag in the
Yeah.
SEC.
Yeah.
Where else you gonna go? There's
Right.
nowhere to go. So
Right.
that gives Texas fans hope that they're not going to lose their coaches.
Right.
Unlike, let's say, a Virginia, right? Their baseball
Yep.
coach going to Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
They've had a phenomenal program,
Yeah.
Virginia.
A long
But
time.
it's like
Yeah.
there's more. There
Right.
is no more with Texas.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is
And there's
it.
no more with the SEC either. That's you got Texas, you got the SEC, you've got opportunities, you've got the biggest stages. What more could you possibly want? And none of these guys. I mean, I don't remember hearing anything of Vic mentioning anything about moving on. Sark damn sure said he wasn't. The NFL was not on his mind anymore. He wanted us to win a national championship here. I think there's a real fire that underneath there that Sark hasn't been able to show, but you can see it, like it's bubbling. You can see that
Yeah.
he's really itching to get that name, not only in households throughout the country, but just to get his name in embedded in college football history as a head coach and a national championship, because he's already won it before. He knows what it looks like, and he knows what it takes to get there. Being with Saban for the years that he was there, he had a great opportunity to really pick up a lot of stuff that Saban had to offer as far as coaching, and he's definitely still has a relationship with it because he talks about it often. So just to see him kind of go from where he started and to see where he's at now, I'm excited, man. It's
For sure.
we should definitely be glad that thank God that we got Chris Del Conte. That guy has done so much, not
Yeah.
only with just the coaching and the hiring that he's done, he's made the fan experience better.
Bevo Boulevard.
Bevo Boulevard, that was just not a thing, and me being here, growing up here, we had like parades and stuff, and we got to see the team and we got to meet the basketball team, but not an experience. What he's done, the partnerships that he's made with these companies outside of, with just outside of sports, because even now, like they still do things, and CDC is always mentioning, hey, we got this going on at this time. He's always active on Twitter, very active. One of the
Yeah, very active.
most active 80s I've probably ever seen. On social media, and when he speaks, like people listen because he doesn't just tweet stuff out just to be tweeting. So I'm glad that we were able to get him. I hope that whatever we give that man a blank check and like do whatever you can to keep that man there until he doesn't want to work there anymore. And hopefully he's got a successor in the wings there that he's taught everything to, and he can kind of keep things going from where he left off there. So shout out to whoever decided to bring him on, because that was a blessing.
But I think the same thing applies to him too, right? Like
Right.
for him, where's he gonna go? Like where's the pinnacle for him?
Honestly, I think the next step is a commissioner of the league, and I would not be
But
with
that's it, right? Yeah,
with
but that's
the
it.
with the removal of Commissioner Goodell's successor going and being the PGA Tour. PGA Tour CEO or commissioner, I would not be surprised if they reach out to CDC. I would not be surprised. It's
Oh,
just
to be the
what
commissioner of the
he's done is
NFL?
too massive. It's the scale is too big for them to not notice what he's doing.
To
Yeah,
be the commissioner of the NFL?
To be the successor for Goodell.
in the office. Yeah,
Yeah, to
Oh,
be his successor. Bro, do you realize the money and the revenue that he's gained outside of just sports in general? Like the stuff that he's doing is just it's what happened.
breaking news.
Oh God.
wow.
The college football gameplay deep dive has just
Oh,
Ah,
oh, thank God.
look at that action you shall
Oh,
receive.
thank God. Thank
my
you.
bad, my bad, my bad
Thank
for
you.
the
I thought we got to commit, dog. You can't be
Know
doing
what I'm
that,
saying?
bro.
I
I
thought
thought
some
it
big
I'm
was
news
sorry.
drop,
I mean
bro.
that
I'm
wasn't
like,
that's
bro,
basically
what?
EA's commitment to us that the game actually exists.
Oh man. But yeah,
They
man,
just said assistant coaches that are in non-playable modes get a 5% boost in recruiting. It's insane.
that's awesome. That
Yeah.
is awesome. But yeah, to wrap
I'm
things
sorry.
up
That was
on,
just a side note.
I'm surprised and I'm glad that CDC is here. I really do feel like if he was to make a move, it's in that direction. I definitely feel like he can, again, just based off what he's done, what he does is it takes little to no time almost. It's like he gets things rolling. With this new stadium, he's able to get Moody taken care of in such a timely fashion. This new athletic facility that's getting ready to be built, like you see what he
So many projects.
Oh, it's so many projects. You
God.
see what happens. He puts the information out there, and then it happens. It's no filler. It's like I'm gonna put this out here. We're getting this done, and that's what it is. And that's what you want as an AD. That's who you would want as a commissioner. That's who you would want as a leader from the top
Mhm.
down, because that trickles down. And that covers all sports. You want to have somebody at the top that can lead. And
Yeah.
what we've seen is that CDC can lead based on his hirings and what they've been able to produce.
Yeah, I would agree with all that. I guess Corey, because you kind of started like, is he the best the best AD in the country? And I would say yes. Do you know who would even be close as number two?
Uh, to be honest, not
A&M's
like when it comes.
commissioner. No, I'm just kidding.
Come on, bro. I would probably maybe lean a little bit towards like a Florida, because
Really?
I was
Okay.
thinking Florida.
when it comes to like all around sports, they're pretty up there.
Yeah.
Softball team's really good. Basketball team just won a national title. Football team, I look that away game.
That is the one game
no
I'm
one
gonna
really,
go to.
saying no one really, talking about going to Athens. We get that, but like
Right.
I'm looking at
Gainesville. Oh, that's the
Gainesville.
game, bro. That's
That
the
is going
game
to
I
be.
want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
DJ
I
Lagway versus
I
Arch
like Lagway.
Manning is
I
going
like
to.
Lagway,
I
bro.
do too.
I
I
like
Guess
like
where
that.
he's from?
Lagway.
He's from Texas.
Yeah, yeah,
He's from
facts.
Texas. Like
So
that game is going to be a prime time game.
Oh yeah,
you
for
can't
sure.
tell me he doesn't feel some type of way about missing last year's game. I know he
Oh,
feels
for
some type
Oh
of
sure.
way.
yeah,
He wanted to
for
show
sure.
out.
Yeah,
He
I know
wanted
he
to
feels
show
some type
out.
of way.
He wanted to show out for sure.
Yep.
He
And
wanted to
now
And
show
he
he's
was
going to
showing
go
out
up
against
against
Georgia.
Arch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now he's going to have to do it against Arch. That game, that might, like preseason, could be the game of the year, and
Low key.
nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it.
That could be a situation where Arch might not look the greatest in the swamp.
We don't.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because you're
Exactly.
going to Florida. You're going to the swamp. That's going to be a primetime game,
It's a big
especially
deal.
At night.
if they don't
Oh,
have
that's
any
gonna be
losses.
tough.
And
That's gonna
Yeah,
be
both teams are
tough.
undefeated.
yeah,
Yep.
that's a game. That's a game for sure. That's a game
It's
for
Yeah.
funny because I'm not even that worried. Like, I don't want to say I'm not that worried. When it comes to, there's 4 games on the schedule that I'm like, of course, excited about. OSU, Florida,
Yep.
Georgia,
hmm
I guess 5. Of course, Cotton Bowl. Oklahoma's going to be a lot better.
Right.
The quarterback they brought in is really good. And the running back, Jane Ott
Is
from
he
Cali.
though? Is he
He,
really good
I
though?
think he is. I mean, Washington State has a track record of great quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, look at,
Okay.
Put up
of course,
numbers.
John right now. Cam Ward, don't forget, he was at Washington State before Miami.
Yep.
What's the dude with the beard in the NFL? Wears short
Gardner
shorts.
Minshew.
Gardner Minshew.
Minshew, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, but in Washington State, in the college quarterback, he's a dog. And so,
Yeah,
like, I think now going to Oklahoma, do they have the weapons? Do they have the weapons?
Right.
That's the
yeah,
question, right? Outside at the running back position, they do because that Ott kid from California is really
yeah.
good
Yeah.
He's
too.
good. Jaden Knott
He's
is
good.
really
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
he's good.
That's
So
really good guy.
And he's
that
fast.
Oklahoma matchup is interesting to me. But then you throw in, of course, A&M at the end of the year, and
Mhm.
I think I mentioned Georgia already. So that's
Yeah,
5 games. Ohio State, I'm least worried about out of those 5.
I am. I was
Really?
gonna say I'm not that worried about Ohio State.
I'm
Really?
not out of those 5. I'm not going to say that like I'm not worried about Ohio State
Mhm.
as a schedule, but out of
Right.
those 5,
Right.
that's the least I'm worried about because to me
Yeah,
it's Michigan. It's Michigan all over again. You're going to their house,
Right.
defending champs, but a completely different team
different
Right.
team.
with the
Got
same
the same
expectations.
quarterback.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
hard. It's
Yeah.
hard with the
yeah.
same expectations with new guys, new
Right.
quarterback, and no one's talking about it. But Chip Kelly leaving is a huge deal. I mean,
Huge,
Yeah.
him
massive.
going to the Raiders is a huge deal. Now, Brian Hartline is the OC now, and we know what Brian has done with the wide receivers. But
Right.
what is Brian Hartline like calling plays?
Right.
That is a
Different.
completely different role. And
Yeah.
so maybe he's good, but we don't know yet. And even if he is good, can the quarterback throw the ball? That's something else we got to figure out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they
Who
got a
is
new running
the
back. I don't even know. I don't know who their starting running back
exact?
is.
Who is the quarterback? Right?
Like
Like you're going
I
into week
just
1. Yeah, is it Juju Sane or whatever his name is, or is it Air Roland or Nike shoes? Like who is the quarterback? We don't
We don't
even
know.
know.
We don't
we don't
know.
Uh,
know. We
so
don't
we
know.
don't know. There's
You
that.
know
We
Jeremiah
don't
Smith.
know.
We
We
know
know
Jeremiah
Jeremiah
Smith.
Smith's the
We
dog,
You
but
know
we already put him
Jeremiah
in a
we
Smith.
know
box.
Jeremiah Smith.
We already put him in a box.
And Henry Jr.
Yeah.
Henry Jr. coming in as a
Oh
wide
yeah,
receiver.
the freshman.
He's gonna be he's gonna be a beast.
Oh yeah, that dude's gonna be good. But we already know like what, and then our defense is even better than it was last year. And they already put him in a box, right? So we got that. And then it's not a night game. That's the thing
It's
that
not a
like
night game. Yes.
we're playing at 11 a.m. We're from Texas.
That's
We play at 11
so
a.m. all the time.
that's
Like it's
so
not a big
crucial.
deal.
That is such a
It
they
is. It is
really
crucial.
dropped the
Very
ball.
crucial.
Yeah,
That
It's
is
really
so
crucial.
crucial, dog.
I think that's the big thing. It's like it's a morning game, right?
Yeah.
Like morning to us is like that's prime time. Like
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's 80 degrees. Awesome. Well, let's
Cool.
go
Right.
down a little south. It's like 100.
Refreshing.
Right.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
don't.
and
Yeah,
that's why.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I'm not really worried about the Buckeyes like that.
Yeah.
I told my homie that the other day. He's like, "Bro, you're tripping. You're tripping." I'm like, "Look,
Not really.
I'm looking at this Texas team. Am I worried about them scoring? Yes, that early in the year because you talk about chemistry, you're talking about new quarterback, new line, new wide receiver. I mean,
Yeah.
it's new everything on offense. But I am confident in that defense, making plays, creating turnovers, putting that offense in great field position
Yep.
with fumbles or picks, just like you saw against Michigan. Makuba getting that interception, Jade picking up that fumble. Like
Mhm.
it put the
Yep.
offense in great field position. And so the defense is going to set the tone. And speaking of Ohio State's offensive line, they got 3 dudes drafted.
Yeah.
Like Texas did too, mind
Yeah.
you. But if y'all going to talk about Texas offensive line, we got to talk about Ohio State's offensive line
Mhm.
too, being new. And so
Yeah.
Colin Simmons is licking his chops.
Yeah.
Trey Moore is licking his chops.
Yeah.
And so will that pass rush be a factor? I think it will against Ohio State as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
dude, we'll go on the Buckeyes. I'm not gonna lie to you. We'll go on the Buckeyes. I'm worried
Real
about the
quick.
Gators.
Yeah.
I'm worried about
Real
the Gators.
quick. Andrew on TikTok says, "Hey, how we're doing? We're doing awesome, Andrew. Thanks for jumping in and commenting. I just want to throw that out there. My bad.
What's up, Andrew?
Hope you're doing well, man. Sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that was it. That was my last point. I just think that, the Buckeyes, it's going to be an interesting matchup, but it just gives me Michigan. It gives me Michigan all over again, and
Correct.
Texas sets a tone for the rest of the year. And it's like, oh, wow, maybe this Arch guy is really good.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think. Speaking of DJ Lagway, speaking of Ohio State, I think this is a great segue into our final segment, right? We were kind of talking about this pre-show, and I kind of want to dig in more into this conversation. But Tim and I, a couple weeks ago, were talking about playoffs, and then the three of us were talking about it pre-show, like what are thoughts on the playoff seeding, your thoughts on the playoff seeding. Give us a breakdown briefly on what your thoughts on the playoff seeding are currently heading into this year, and kind of like just your overall.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens, right? So they're discussing the 5-11 model. which is basically Power Four champions and then a Group of Five champion or Notre Dame. And so that would be the top 5 seeds, and then the other 11 seeds is based off the committee, like we saw this past year.
Yep.
And I don't understand why that's been one of the biggest supporters, because we saw what the committee did last year. They're not good.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not
No,
good.
they're not.
And it pisses me off that, like, again, it goes back to the point that I made earlier when it comes to national pundits and local news people. You're not there. Like, the fact that none of the selection committee actually went to these games. Like, I would have more respect for you if you were on the sidelines watching these games in person, so you can see and feel how big these guys are, how fast these guys are. And you'll understand that a team like Ole Miss or a team like South Carolina maybe should have been in. But anyways, so you have the 5'11" model, which Brett Yormark is a big supporter of. I don't understand why. Because the other model, to me, benefits Big 12 more, which is the 4-4-2-2-1. So basically 4 SEC schools, 4 Big 10 schools, 2 Big 12 schools, 2 ACC schools, and of course, like, again, Notre Dame, Group of 5. And so, to me, if I'm Brett Yormark, the odds of me getting more than 2 schools in the playoff isn't very high. I mean,
it's not.
It's just not.
It's not
just not.
Not right now.
Not at all. And I don't know how in the future.
Yeah.
To be honest, the way this landscape is going,
right.
I just don't see how in the future. Remember, USC had a horrible year last year. That's another Big 10 school that is going to come back.
Yeah, they're not going to fall off forever. They're not going to be
exactly. And so, same thing with Washington. Washington's another powerhouse, a college powerhouse that isn't good, but they will be back, I feel like. And so, if I'm Brett Yormark, why am I supporting a playoff format with 5-11 compared to getting 2 automatic bids for my conference? I don't know. But the reason why I like the 4-4-2-2-1 is because the whole point of that is so that during the conference championship week, these teams play each other for those final 2 spots. So, of course, the 2 teams in the SEC championship, let's take the SEC, for example, 2 teams in the SEC championship get the first 2 spots. The other 2 spots are decided on the field. So 3 versus 6 seed, 4 versus 5 seed. The winner of those games goes to the playoffs, which to me is cinema, right? I mean, we're looking at Ole Miss, Tennessee and South Carolina versus Bama, right? Like last year. We're talking about last year's standing. That would have been cinema, bro. Like, I would have loved to see that for a win-or-go-home situation. And so, like,
Carolina
to me,
should have got
bro.
It makes sense for money too.
They were
South Carolina. I was on the South Carolina bandwagon so heavy about them getting in.
I think we were
No,
too.
you're right. It makes sense for money too. Like, if you try to make bread, you wouldn't get more revenue. That's another way to make more revenue. I just don't see a negative between going to that model. But the other conferences are just so prideful that, what do you mean they're going to get 4 automatic bids and we're only going to get 2? Well, buddy, look around. They have better teams.
Look at your
They have better teams. Like, sorry.
Sorry.
SMU is not touching. Heck, I can throw. SMU is not touching a Michigan. SMU is not touching. Of course, like, I'm not trying to say Penn State. We already know that. They're not touching Ohio State. We already know that. But I'm talking about lowering the seeds, like Illinois, right? Like, Illinois is going to be really good this year. SMU is probably on that level.
Right.
And you're fighting for them?
You see what happened with Indiana. They got in. They looked good all year. And got in and got boat raced.
Got clapped.
Yeah, they got clapped.
And that's even close.
On live TV.
SMU went in
Actually,
there.
on Prime, that was a night game too, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yep.
It was a night game.
Oh. So, yeah, and the same thing with the Group of 5. Like, it's cool. It's cool to have a little story. Boise State, proud of you, Genty. But when you put the pads on, there's a reason why these guys are going to the league. And these guys aren't. There's a reason. And so it's different with basketball because it's, I get it. Like, it's up and down play. Anybody can get hot when it comes to shooting the rock. But with football, you got to line up them pads. And you got to tackle somebody.
And you got to do it for 4 quarters.
You ain't going to get lucky. Like, there's no luck when it comes to football. Like, we're just going to beat the brakes off you.
It's an Appalachian State every 20 years, man. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
It's not a thing that happens every year. Now, we almost had it with Boise State against Oregon, but again, you ended up seeing what happened at the end of that game.
But that was a regular season game, though. Like, that's the second game of the season.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You get to the end, by the end of the season, it doesn't really happen. It don't happen. You might run into a situation where one of these bowl games, you might run into a Boise State, Oklahoma. But think about when that happened. That happened in 2003. It's been years since they don't do that anymore.
Man, that's crazy to think it was that long ago.
Bro, it's been over
a minute.
20 years.
It's been a minute.
It's been over 20 years, bro. That's
crazy.
like,
It's been that long.
and the
It
only
doesn't
reason
happen.
I know that because ESPN recently put out like one of the greatest college football, like the greatest college football plays, and of course Vince running into the end zone against USC was number one.
Of course.
But like the Statue of Liberty play against Oklahoma, where they were supposed to blow the doors off Boise State, that is like up in the top 5.
Yeah.
Like it's up,
as it should be, right?
yeah, and it should be because it was perfectly ran. They don't even nobody does that. It's like Boise State. But anyway, these wins are few and far in between. Is all I'm trying to say. You don't really run into a situation where the little guy beats the big guy. We did have a Northern Illinois beat up on Notre Dame. But I think the situation where they play in the playoffs,
that's not happening.
That's not happening. Bowl race. They gonna get bowl race. You catch them early. That's why they have these games early, right? So that you can run into a situation where you might not have your team might not be ready, but they do have an opportunity. And Cory, you mentioned this, being able to catch that loss early in the season and being able to kind of bounce back really puts a lot of things in perspective because it's a wake-up call and you can't afford to lose any more games, really. Especially being a Notre Dame, being independent, you can't really afford to lose games because you're done. So they were able to strap up and they had a couple more hiccups there, but for the majority of the time they took care of business though.
My thing is just take the power out of the selection committee and take the power out of the computer.
Yeah. Put it back in the computer.
Make it happen on the field.
Right.
Make it happen on the field.
Right. Or you know what? Put the power in the computer or whatever, like standing, like whatever. Like use AI, right, to decide the seedings because we're in 2025. And then look, 1 to 12. This is how you rank. I don't care. Now, but here's the thing.
I don't need 16, by the way.
Me neither.
I think 14 is the most you should have.
14 to me is perfect. I like 14.
4. Cap it off at 4.
I thought 8 was fine, to be honest.
Me too. 8 is really good. 8 is really good.
8 is really perfect. 8 is really good. But they want to make bread, which I understand.
Right.
You want to make bread.
I get it.
I think the one thing though that the one thing that conference championship should do is guarantee you a spot.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
I don't care about you get a home game or you go play in like I don't know, the state fair. Like I don't care where you go play.
Right.
You will get a guaranteed home game.
Right.
I think that's you are guaranteed because at the end of the day, I get like playing at home is important, but if you're not playing at all, it doesn't matter where you're playing.
Right.
Right. Like, getting into like if Alabama got in last year, let's just say South Carolina got in. They just wanted an opportunity to get in.
Yeah.
South Carolina is one of those where they could have gone far.
Then from there, you just say, let's figure it out on the field.
Yeah.
Right? Clemson, they just wanted to get in. They got in. Now, they didn't win, but
they
gave
did
us some
what they needed
scares.
to do to get in. Yeah.
Arizona State, they should have got in. 100% agree. But you're not telling me that Arizona State deserved a home game. You can't tell me that Boise State deserved a home game because they won the big whatever the hell they won.
I do think that they should, if you win your conference, especially those Power 4, Power 5 teams, you should be able to get that home game. Now
you should, yeah. In theory, yes.
Yeah, in theory.
But really, if we look at it from a macro level, I would much rather make it than say than to say, I might get a home game versus I don't make it at all.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember last year's bracket. Because if you were a top 4 seed, you got a bye, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So Arizona State got that bye, correct?
Correct.
So that's my thing. I think if you win your conference championship, you deserve a spot, correct? But I think once you get in, though, you still have to be seated the right way, and I think that's where it kind of played a factor with Arizona State.
Right. I think last year's seeding was bad.
It was bad.
Yeah,
there's no reason Boise State should be the number 4 seed. And so I think that's where the committee comes into play
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, you handle everything on the field about who gets in, and then
Right.
the committee decides what the seating's going to be. Now, we'll have a caveat and say, yes, if you get in, if you're a Big 12 champ, but you're not, let's say, the top 4 best teams in the country,
Mm-hmm.
which is a possibility. Let's
Right.
not,
Yeah.
ACC too.
Very well possible.
Is a very well possibility. Sorry,
Yeah.
Brett Yormark, but they deserve a home game in
Mm.
that seating. So
Yep.
I agree with you there. If you win your conference, you deserve a home game, but you don't deserve a first round bye. That to me,
Absolutely.
that's not.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
I can take that.
I can get
I'll
down
take
behind that.
that. Yeah. I'm cool with that.
So I think that's the hard part right now, trying to figure that out.
Yeah, but I also think like because the Big 12 is not like a great conference, it's not really top or middle. Like they beat up on each other all year,
It's
right?
literally the
Yeah.
bottom. They're the bottom two.
So what if
Nah, bro,
like I
I'm
can't?
ACC is dog. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh well, yeah.
ACC is
has
bad.
some down years. Yeah. For
Like
sure.
look at I sometimes bet, not a lot, but I sometimes do.
Yeah,
North Carolina, I've been on their win loss over
Mhm.
under,
Yep.
and I just don't understand why so many people are picking their under for win totals this year. I think their win total is at like 7.5 or 8.5,
Okay.
and you tell me who are they losing to? Because this schedule is so bad. Because the ACC is so bad. So they start with TCU at home against
Okay.
TCU, by the way.
Okay.
So TCU's a good program,
Right.
but North Carolina is too. So it's a
Right.
toss up. Then they got Charlotte. Then that's a dub. Richmond, that's a dub.
That's a dub.
Central Florida,
Dub.
Clemson is the one, right?
Right.
yeah,
Okay,
they lose that game.
they lose to
Sure.
Clemson. Then you got California, who just lost everybody.
Yep.
Virginia, garbage.
Yep.
Syracuse, lost Kyle McCord, garbage. Stanford, don't know what they got. Wake Forest, don't know what they got. Duke, no Malik Murphy. They got that transfer from, I don't know where he came in from, but don't know what Duke's going to be. And
Yep.
then North Carolina State.
It's a rival game.
That's really their schedule.
That's
That's really their schedule.
That's a very winnable schedule.
North Carolina can mess around and lose one game next year. And now we're talking about them getting into the playoff.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, like if you have one loss,
Yeah.
you're in the playoff conversation.
But you shouldn't be top 4.
But you shouldn't be top 4. And honestly, with that schedule, you shouldn't be in the conversation. Like, who you play?
I don't want to say it like that, but hey, you took it right from me, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So who you play? You know what I'm saying?
but
Like,
that's the
because the
Indiana
ACC is
argument
so
from last year.
bad.
Yeah, that's the Indiana argument from last year. Like,
Yeah.
look, Indiana got in. They should have gotten in. You lose one game. Now, granted, you got dog walked in that one game, but you only lost one game, right?
Man.
But they shouldn't have been. They shouldn't have been.
Hey.
11 seed was fine for Indiana. Like, I'm cool with that.
But you can't tell me that South Carolina is not beating the brakes off Indiana last year.
No.
I think South Carolina
is,
like, Indiana. Their defensive line and the way that they were running the ball and the way that their quarterback was playing.
They were playing really well.
They were playing really
good football.
I was
but
worried.
Here's the thing about a team like South Carolina, and this is the reason why I disagree with like the South Carolina and Alabama argument. Right?
Yeah.
You can't lose the games that you're losing.
Right.
And I get that.
Problem, right?
I get like Bama can't lose.
You could talent wise by the end of the season, Alabama maybe was like a top 6. Right? But when you are at home, or wait, did they go to Oklahoma?
They're on the road.
When you get dog walked by a 6-loss team, there's no excuse.
No excuses.
South Carolina lost.
I will give you that.
South Carolina lost to somebody late in the season. I don't remember who it was.
But to me, South Carolina got screwed though because they should have won that game against LSU.
It doesn't matter.
They should have won that game against LSU, but Lenore's got hurt. Lenore's got hurt in the middle of the game. They had to lead though, right? When Lenore's went down.
Yeah.
So that was my argument.
Though,
like
right?
if you're watching, if you're the committee though, but if you're the committee, again, go back to them. You should have been watching that game, and you should know. South Carolina they were controlling that game against LSU.
South Carolina,
they were balling against LSU.
That's true.
Yep.
And the moment he left the game, that's when things turned. And it's not like Florida State a couple years ago because Florida State, Jordan Travis wasn't coming back. Lenore's was back. Right. So it's like we know what he looks like as a quarterback.
Yep.
And they may have lost that game against LSU, but like, come on. You threw this backup in there late in the game. It was a tough situation.
Yeah.
So I don't know, bro. Like that's the type of stuff that I'm like, why isn't the committee taking that into consideration? But I'm not in those rooms, and I don't even know if they even watch. Like that's the thing with me. I don't know if they watch, and that. But
You know how I know they don't watch together because they like make it this like TV broadcast thing. All the people on the committee are in the same room. Like, wait, why are they not in the same room all the time? Why is
yeah,
this like the only time?
I just knew.
Like, yeah, I think the committee is stupid. I hate the committee. Um, I don't like the idea of a committee controlling my destiny, but at the same token,
Mm-hmm.
also like it's one of those things where you don't want to try to put the risk, knowing how dumb this committee thing is, you don't want to put the risk of your season in the hands of 12 people that have no idea what they're doing. And that's
Exactly.
kind of the way I see this whole thing. It's like
Exactly.
if you get quote unquote screwed, but at
Right.
the same opportunity up until that point, minus injuries or whatever, right? For the most part, you control what you can control, right?
Yep.
And yes, no, South Carolina cannot control Lenora Sellers getting hurt. I completely, but Alabama can, with their play, control not losing to a 6-loss team, right?
And that's why they need to play for a shot to get in.
Maybe they do.
At that point, that's
Or
why
you
they
can
need to
argue their
play.
shot to play to get in was the entire season,
You
Yeah.
can't argue that. You definitely can. But
right?
we just talked about it. There's stuff that happens throughout the season that you just can't predict, and stuff comes up.
Right.
And so like, what if Texas would have lost the 2 games that Arch started?
Ooh.
They don't get
It's
into the
like,
playoff.
and
No.
is that fair? Is that because that's not our starting quarterback?
Right.
Quinn is, and
Right.
My life's
so
not fair, man. I'm just saying my life's not fair.
They wouldn't have cared.
you
They
know,
would have been like, "Yeah, you're out."
exactly, they wouldn't care. But
Right.
Yeah,
is that fair at the end of the year? Let's say SEC championship week, Texas was the 6th seed,
yeah.
right? But now you have a shot
Right.
to make the playoff
Right.
because you get to play in. And
Right.
that's why I like that model so much, because it happens on the field. And yes, things come up throughout the season, but if you're just the top 6, you're just top 6 in the SEC. And you know what that also alleviates late in the season when these teams suck, right? Now there's motivation, right? Now there's
Motivation to
motivation.
keep going.
Now there's motivation to keep going, like a
Yeah.
Vanderbilt to spoil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you top 5, you top 6, we about to knock y'all out.
We have to knock
And
you
low
out.
key, like,
You,
we
you
may
don't
get
want
up
to be
there.
on the end of that. You don't want to be
Exactly.
on a late loss to a bad team. Oh man.
And now
So South
you get out there.
Carolina last year lost to Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss,
Yep.
and they got throttled by Ole Miss,
Yep.
right? And then
That
of
was a
course
bad
that LSU game, right, where they actually led for most of the game. But then and I think that's where a lot of this came. Like it was like a domino, right? Where like Alabama lost, but then they also beat South Carolina. So South
Yeah.
Carolina, if Alabama doesn't get in, why should South Carolina get in? And then
Right.
Ole Miss, like I don't know what the heck they were
Florida,
doing. Like
bro.
this is why like when who was their quarterback? What's that guy's name?
Jackson, Dart.
Yeah, I know you don't like this. I don't know. I know you don't like this, Corey, but I'm gonna say I think Jackson. I don't think he's that good. Here's the thing, right? When you talk about the quarterback position, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much pressure on the quarterback position. How much money they pay that guy to get from USC to Ole Miss, right? In all three of their losses, in key times of all 3 of those losses, Jackson Dart failed.
Yeah.
The two back-to-back drives of interceptions against Kentucky. Are we
That was
serious?
bad.
Are at home,
That was
right?
bad.
Broad daylight, right? Like it's things like that where I'm just like, why was this guy drafted at the bottom of the first round? When we talk about
That's
third,
a whole
That's-
different topic.
Yeah.
That's a whole.
well, that's
You're
what I'm
totally right.
saying. Like,
You're
but
totally
that's
right.
what I'm
But
saying.
yeah.
If we're talking about performance and like, well, this happened or that happened or this happened, right? Those are things that need to be talked about too. It's like, Ole Miss fans were crying about not getting in. Wait, why should you get in? Your first round quarterback couldn't even beat Kentucky when he had 3 straight drives to do so. He threw an interception. Why should you get in? Like to me, the Ole Miss was a non-factor. Like to me, the only
Yeah,
team
I
that
agree.
might have had a leg to stand on was South Carolina.
Yeah.
Alabama, Didn't care. You didn't deserve it. Sorry. I don't care what you think. You didn't deserve it.
Right.
Ole Miss, you can't even beat Kentucky, which half the league. You didn't deserve it. Like, but South Carolina is probably the one that, because if Lenore Sellers doesn't get hurt, they probably throttles.
Yeah.
But but those are the kinds of things that I think about last year. I'm just like, why are we even talking about this? This is so silly.
Yeah, I feel you.
It shouldn't be
But
tough.
and then we like going back to that playoff model. Even at the other conferences, right? You're telling me Shador has a shot to win this game to make it to the playoff? That's like I want to see that. I want to see that.
Boy,
But
Like
Shador
as
had a
a
shot to make
fan.
it to the
if
Big 12
they
title
get,
game, and he
I
lost.
know, I
if
know,
he
I
would
know,
have
I know, I
gotten
know.
into the
That was
playoff, that
your
would
shot. That
But we
was
know
his.
Kansas is solid though, bro. Like Devin Neal, Jalen. I like Kansas. I've always been a
I
Devin
do.
Kansas.
Neal
Like
can't stay
they're
Yeah,
healthy.
sneaky. He can't, but he was healthy that game.
Yeah.
He was healthy that game.
Yeah.
So,
but that's the
uh,
thing, though, right? In the game, but obviously, like Devin Neal and them like going off isn't on Shador; it's on that defense.
Right.
But Shador had ample opportunities on offense to get that team, and he couldn't score. He
Right.
could not score in that.
Well, he was running for his life majority of those games.
yeah,
I
facts.
He
get
was
it.
running for his life majority of those games.
You're
I
telling me
understand.
SMU would put up a better fight than what Colorado would have done
Yeah,
I
in the
think
playoff?
SMU would beat Colorado in a head-to-head situation. I think SMU beats
I
Colorado.
think I think SMU is significantly better than Colorado last year.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about last year.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just
think about it. SMU. SMU is like maybe like some. I think in SMU's case, that was the case of like the stage is too big.
Yeah. There's
They
like a
were
3 or 4 years
yeah,
ago.
they were
you,
getting
you
like
think
I think.
so?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, when SMU has never been like SMU as a program
Yeah.
since
What
like they
since
pay
Eric
people
Dickerson,
under
huh?
the table has if the death penalty never happens to SMU, they are probably like one of the top college football. People do not realize like how much money SMU has. They are going to dominate the ACC
I
very very soon.
I think so too. With the NIL money and what they have and the resources that they have, all it takes is 1, 2, maybe even 3 winning seasons. Things start to pick up. Maybe some kids that don't have an opportunity, like a Trey Owens,
Yep.
doesn't have an opportunity to really play. He's sitting behind some talent. All it takes is one guy to move. All it takes is one guy to move. Then and players talk, right? So players are
Yeah.
communicating with each other, like, "Hey, man, listen, I'm trying to go to SMU. I'm trying to go to Texas. I'm trying to get some money. They have opportunity for me to start. We don't have to worry about taxes really like that. We can really make a mark there if they win. If they even get to the playoff or a conference championship, they're going to be remembered forever. So it's like they get in. There are smaller schools that you were talking about, right? Corey, that lower tier, right? That are kind of like right there on the cusp. I believe SMU is like one of those teams. It just takes a couple of chips to fall, their way, and they could be a real competitor.
Let me throw this out to you though. Weren't we saying the same things about TCU a couple years ago?
I think TCU is different,
I think
and
TCU is
yeah,
different from a standpoint of like, even though they have the resources
And the money.
and the money, I think I TCU's really fallen off the bandwagon. If they would have been able to kind of stay afloat, maybe kind of stay in the mix with the conferences, I think they would have been able to do something really really special there. As far as getting big name talent and big name recruits in there, I think
Mm-hmm.
the way that they fell off from that national championship
did he freeze?
poor
No. There you go.
national championship where
Oh,
they
there he is.
lost to Alabama. They got all this promise. They're supposed to come back in. They lose a hard fought game against Colorado, but then they also continue to really they really don't recover.
Yeah.
And then you got these kids that nobody wants to sit and be a part of a losing program. People start moving around and getting out of there. I think you run into a situation where, again, they're kind of like SMU. If they can get somebody in there, they can get a couple guys in there and they can kind of put some wins together. Then, of course, they do happen to have opportunity to compete again. But they right now, they just need to get – I think they need to focus on getting a starting, like a legitimate starting quarterback, they got the wide receiver talent there. The wide receiver talent is there.
Yeah.
But they need to just get a quarterback, and they need to really focus on what are they going to do with identity wise on defense. Because I watched them play last year, and they were not good on defense.
all over the place.
They were
I don't
all
think
over the place.
yeah. I don't
So-
really think. Also, I think some of their success at TCU under like year one of Sandy Dykes is a lot of like leftover from Gary Patterson.
Yeah, a
Mhm.
lot of that it was Patterson.
And when you talk about like resources, I don't think they have the same resources they had since Gary Patterson because of the name that Gary Patterson held. The resources that SMU have is significantly larger than the resources that TCU has because they have deeper pockets.
Right.
Gotcha.
NIL is the reason why I think SMU is going to like, and also being where they're at, they're in like the bloodbath of it all, right? Like
Yep.
they
Yeah.
have talent.
They're in it.
They have talent across the street from them. Literally, you step off campus, there's probably eight 5-stars across the
Yeah,
street.
just go to Duncanville, DeSoto.
Exactly.
And get
Yeah,
that.
And
They can get
just
that.
You be there
easy
every day.
there.
You be there every day.
Yeah.
Go to
Yeah.
practice every day.
You don't need to go. You don't. They could build an entire football team off of 3 schools.
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And they have the pockets to do so. I think that's the difference. It's like the pipeline and the pockets, and that's where like NIL makes a difference because
Mhm.
maybe not last year or this year, but they just put together the first year in the ACC. They just put together a playoff run. Let's just say they do it again this year.
Yeah.
Right. People are gonna be like, wait a minute. Not only are they in like the pipeline, I remember those guys saying that those guys have money. And now you
Yeah.
have this new NIL thing where they can just pay me direct. I don't even need to worry about NIL. I can literally just go walk onto campus and they give me $1 million with no state taxes. Why would I go to like a TCU, right?
Right.
Why would I go to like whatever, like why would I go to Illinois? That's so far away. My
And it's
parents
cold.
would just drive 20
cold.
minutes and come to my games. Like that's the resourcing that they have that I don't think like a TCU or Illinois or anything like that. They have the deep pockets plus they have the pipeline.
Right.
Yeah, I totally get you there. It's going to depend on the season. The reason why I pose that question is because I feel like we had that same conversation with TCU. You know,
Mhm.
after they had their little run, it's like, okay, Dykes is a great coach. They got money in Dallas. They got the pipeline right there in Dallas. Got the cool uniforms. You know, I'll give them that. But they just fell off. And so I'm interested to see what happens with SMU this year. Like, you have to follow up a great season with another good season.
Right.
And I mean, it's not easy. Think about
No,
it. Like,
no.
it's not. Texas was the only team to repeat as the semifinals and the playoffs for a reason.
Yep.
You know, because it is hard. It's
Yeah.
hard to get there. And so, can SMU do it again? We'll see. But I think Clemson's going to win the conference. I like Clemson a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna. I think they'll blow that
Cade. I
conference.
think Cade I think Cade might mess around and be a Heisman finalist this year.
Yeah, me too. I'm right there with you.
You think he wins it? Is she your front runner to win it?
Yes, he's mine.
Right now he is. Yeah. Right now,
I was
Cade.
gonna say.
Right now,
Well,
Cade Klubnik is the best quarterback in college football.
Listen, I don't know if you know.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this about Tim Wayne, but he's an underground Clemson fan, so all of his opinions are super biased.
So I have been very crucial of the Clemson Tigers. I do watch a lot of Clemson football outside the University of Texas, but I am not biased.
Bias.
I'm not biased at all.
Where does the love for the Tigers come from?
Taking a trip out there, I went to the Carolinas in high school.
Okay.
I took a trip out there, got to do got to visit some colleges out there. Through actually, my church was actually really the ones that were like kind of showing us that there was life outside of the University of Texas. There was life outside the state in general. And so I really got out there and really had an opportunity to kind of see what things were and how things are on the East Coast. I did like the Carolinas specifically because it did feel like a tad bit like Austin at the time. Wasn't a lot of people there. Wasn't this super popping city like this is now, where it's tech companies are out here going crazy and Musk and all everybody. It wasn't like that. It was real quiet, real laid back. You could kind of just like walk around and do whatever you wanted to do. And of course, we didn't really have a lot of social media like we do now, so it was kind of cool, man. It kind of reminded me of home, and so that's what made me kind of leaned towards wanting to go to Clemson, and then I found out about those out-of-state tuition fees.
Yeah, yeah, that'll
Got
make
'em.
you change your mind real quick.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, Texas ain't looking too bad, Texas
You
ain't looking too
know,
bad.
you know,
So
I always liked Trinity University.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I always liked Tarleton
Texas
State.
looking.
You
That's
I
know,
actually kind of cool. Yeah, that's kind of nice.
Hey,
Yeah,
Abilene Christian, man. Abilene Christian got a good
Abilene
program.
Christian. You know, they got a really good program, man. They got a really good.
they're a growing brand. They're a
Yeah,
growing
once
brand.
that money starts talking, it's like, all right, let me, North Texas. Yeah, I'll go to Denton.
I
Yeah. I go to Denton.
Yeah, I'll go
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Denton.
Denton's cool.
Denton's not. I mean, Denton's kind of like in this. It's not. It's one of those burbs like right outside the smack dab
I
of
like Denton,
Dallas.
bro. I got a
Denton's
lot of homies
Nice.
that do
Denton's nice.
ministry in at North Texas, and so I go down there a
Oh,
lot to
nice.
talk to them. And
Oh, that's what's up.
yeah, they it's like to me it reminds me of Austin, like on
Mhm.
campus. Of
Yeah.
course, outside of the campus, it's
It's
yeah,
Party City.
Yeah.
They get
but
down out there. They get down.
yeah. But on campus, it feels a lot like Austin.
Yeah.
And they're really big in their music scene as well,
Yeah.
downtown. And so it's just a smaller scale of Austin, but it had
Yep.
those vibes.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Real quick, shout out to our brother in Texans fan battle. I don't know if he's still here, but we were talking about how terrible CJ Stroud is. I just want to let you know.
You always got to do
So
it.
disrespectful.
He's the one
bro.
that said, "Let's go." Like I'm just, you
So
know.
disrespectful, bro.
It's so disrespectful.
CJ's about to go
I'm
crazy
just-
this year. I hope you realize that.
I hope he does.
I
He's
hope
about
he
to go
does.
crazy.
Listen, I wanted CJ Stroud when we beat the Texans that year to not get the number 1 pick. I was pissed.
And the last game, on the last
I
game,
wanted CJ Stroud.
Shout out Levy.
That was the guy. Like when when people were unsure about CJ Stroud in November of that year, when we hired Jeff Saturday, I was like, yes, we're gonna get CJ Stroud. I can't wait.
That was such like a we don't give a crap about the rest of the season. That hire.
The other thing about Indianapolis, real quick, right? They're like the fakest choke team ever. Like they like the Colts are like
You
the
ever seen
team that
Dallas
like
versus
they're
Green
not
Bay have
very
it?
good. If they're not very good, they're also really bad at being really good.
Yeah.
Right?
Ah,
Like
I
they
mean, you
can't be
had
good
Carson
very
Wentz,
well.
bro. Why didn't you
Yeah.
keep Wentz? Wentz was good.
Because they wanted to like
all
get
right,
bad,
all
but
right,
they're
all
not
right. We
good
need
at
to
being
end this.
bad.
Wentz was good with the
Wentz
Colts. Correct me if I'm wrong.
garbage.
Wentz was good with the Colts.
Philip Rivers was good with the Colts.
They
Philip
both
Rivers
were.
was good with the Colts.
Wentz was
Wentz
garbage.
was
Rivers, we went
solid, bro.
11-5 with Philip Rivers.
Wentz was solid. Am I tripping? I could have sworn Wentz was
Carson
solid.
Wentz was terrible.
No. He wasn't bad. He just had
That's
too
what
many
I'm
bad
saying.
moments. He just had too many bad moments.
Bro,
That
now I'm about to
stuck
look
out,
at the
and it
record
was
that year. What year was
and it's-
that?
He ran
9-8. We went
across-
9-8.
he
I
ran
don't
across
want to
the line,
remember.
and as he was running to the sideline, he tried to throw a pass and he threw a interception. I'll never forget that. Matter of fact, Harish, I was at your apartment when it happened.
I said he had bad
the-
moments, man.
Bro.
Absolutely
Okay.
terrible. And
Look at
Harish
these
was
stats.
throwing stuff and going crazy. And I remember I was like, dog, there's no way you can. And he tried to convince me. Harish tried to convince me for like 5 months. He was like, dog, Carson Wentz is going to be amazing.
He's gonna figure it out,
He's gonna
right?
figure it out. He was on a Pat McAfee show and everything. He was like, yo, you see Carson Wentz on Pat McAfee show? I was like, yeah, I saw Pat. I saw him on Pat McAfee show. I don't know, bro. He was like, nah, dog, they ain't gonna be. And to me, Carson Wentz was terrible in Indianapolis. He was doing everything but throwing the ball to the people he needed to throw the ball.
Bro, look at these stats. 3,563 yards passing.
Yeah.
So over 3,500 yards passing.
Yeah.
27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. It's a pretty good ratio.
It's great when you're
It's
getting.
moments.
It's great when you're
It was
coming from,
moments with Carson Wentz. It was
When you're coming from
moments.
behind.
when you're coming from behind. Everything your stats look great all the time.
That's a good
Actually,
point.
the Colts weren't coming from behind a lot that year. They were actually giving up leads most
And
of the
they would have made the playoff if it wasn't for that Week 18. They were in the playoff contention. They lost to the Jags Week
Tim,
18, though.
you do realize that was the year we gave up the largest lead in NFL history.
Yeah, I
What was
remember
that?
it because I
To the Vikings?
35-0 was that year.
That was that? Oh, my gosh.
So they were up a lot that year.
Oh, my gosh.
You making him relieve.
You know what? You know
making
what?
Oh my
Texas said that
god!
awesome
you're making
water
us
mountain
relive
guy.
this.
I don't
You're
want to
making us
talk about
relive
that.
I
this.
remember where I was at.
This
That's crazy. I remember I was at because that was Big 12 title day.
Yeah.
I remember I was walking up,
Yes.
bro. So pregame because they
Wasn't that a
played
Saturday
during
night game?
exactly they played during the day. No, they
Yeah.
played during the day.
Yeah, it was a Saturday night game.
It would be
Yeah.
they kicked off before Texas did. Because I remember walking the sidelines and seeing the score. I'm like, dang, it's pregame. I'm like, dang, okay,
You remember?
Colts.
Yeah, the
And then
Vikings.
by the third quarter, I come back around to one of these suites on the sideline, and I'm like, what the hell? What happened?
Carson Wentz
Yeah,
happened. That's
Kirko
where most of
Kirko
his 7
changed.
interceptions came from.
Oh yeah, that game. Why not just hand the ball off to JT?
He was.
Was he hurt? That was he
Oh,
hurt?
you know, I'll tell you why. Because our head coach at the time, Frank Wright, was a huge potato head. That dude was an idiot too. So he did all this potato head stuff.
He looked
And
so
so
sad in Carolina.
He getting the bag.
He didn't.
I
He
don't know
didn't want to
why
be
he
there.
went to Carolina.
He didn't want to be there at all.
Frank Wright should have never taken a head coaching job. Like it was literally 6 weeks after he got fired. You got
Yeah.
fired and got replaced by Jeff Saturday. Why are you trying to get another job? Why don't you go take a break?
Yeah, go to
Frank Wright
Cancun.
is getting a bag, bro.
Yeah.
That's
Huh?
why he's there. He's getting a bag. Yeah. Is he stressing out? Is he over 60 years old? Absolutely. He's getting paid. here.
But he probably
Yeah,
wants
now he
to be a-
chilling.
he probably wants to get paid to be a coach. The thing is he can't make enough good decisions to be one. So
I don't mind getting paid on the couch.
I mean, I don't mind either, but I'd much rather get paid for
sure.
actually doing something.
I'm sure Jimbo Fisher's chilling right now.
Oh, yeah. On a yacht, getting paid.
Bro. Jimbo Fisher, what a guy. Now you know since we're talking about the Aggies, right? I'm gonna ask you a question. I just want you to ask honestly. You can say yes or no. You can go as deep or as
Why
shallow as you
Tim?
want.
Why you shaking your head? Tim's shaking his head over
The
there.
Aggies,
He knows where I'm going.
I know
You
where
can
it's
go
going.
as deep or as shallow as you want.
Okay.
I'll let you choose
Oh
the
my
depth.
God, I can't believe
I'm
I'll let you
interested
choose
now.
the depth.
I can't believe you finna do this. Go ahead.
Have you ever had any conversations with Billy Lucci?
I have seen him. I have not talked to him. I've seen him at the A&M game.
Okay.
I don't think he knows I exist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's fine. That's cool. Like
And
that's all right.
I think I'm happy that he doesn't know I exist.
I was
Yeah.
gonna
You
say
know.
you might have escaped one, right?
Yeah, because the way I see him interact with people on social media, I'm like, bro, you're a dick. That is crazy.
Yeah.
We have our dicks and our, like some people may not like Jeff Ketchum. He has a certain way about himself.
He
But
has a certain
he
stigma.
had a certain way.
Yeah.
Justin Wells had a certain stigma. All these guys,
Does he
everybody
really?
out
That's
there.
the Wells does?
Yeah.
I've never
Well, actually, no, I
interacted
want
with
to say
Justin Wells.
Justin. Justin's a cool dude. But you have some guys out there. I hate to just throw names out there, but that guy, Billy.
Billy.
He's a dude that, like, everywhere he goes, there's just trouble.
Yep.
He goes
And
on shows to get roasted. It's kind of wild.
I don't know why people like to move like that. Like, I've never been a fan of
Money.
hate and wanting to get hated. I hate being hated. Not gonna lie to you.
I do
I
too.
hate when
Right,
people
it's kinda
comment on my
hard.
TikToks and say stuff
Yeah.
like, "Oh, Texas homer," or "You don't know what you're talking about," or "You stuttered here." It's like, yeah, I did. Yeah,
I think
you're
that's
right.
yeah. I mean, if they're like Texas Homer and Mose, that hate's awesome because that's attention, right? But it's like direct hate towards you personally, and then
Yeah.
hate you like that. That kind of hate's hard. I don't know how people deal with that.
I don't know how people
Oh
do that.
yeah. When it's like, the Texas is like overrated. It's like, hey, we can be because you still keep talking about us. Like, hey, I love that kind of hate. Like that hate's fun. That's the fun hate.
That's true. I give you that.
Billy is a glutton for punishment.
Glutton.
Yeah, that's why you say glutton.
What an adjective.
Dog, like, listen,
Golly.
I look at his tweets and I'm just like, dog, you are a miserable person. Like, I've never and listen, I'm gonna be completely honest. The way Harish can get down with the best of them,
Oh, I go after Billy all the time.
That's not my ministry. I don't
Good
get
time.
down like that because I'll go back with you. I'll trade a couple jabs, and then I'm done. Harish has made people like literally be like, "Yo, please stop." Please stop. Like,
This guy,
please
I'm not
stop.
gonna say who it is. I went back and forth with him for like maybe it was like 20, 30 minutes. I don't even know what. I don't even. This is like a year ago.
20,
He
30
No,
he
this
minutes.
wasn't a year
messaged
ago. This
me.
was 6 months ago. This was
Oh no
during
no
the
no no! That
college
was
football
like a
season.
year ago, bro. It was an Aggie. It was an Aggie account.
I'm
He
talking about the
DM'd me.
OU guy.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, that guy
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that guy.
yeah.
Oh,
This
that guy.
there
Yeah,
there
yeah,
was
that
an
guy.
Aggie guy that I went back and forth with me. He DM'd me, and he said, "Hey, bro, like you gotta chill because it was like a recruiting account." I was like, "Hey, bro, my name's Fan Battle. Get over it."
You're
So if to be fair, if you see like our Twitter account going back and
oh
forth, all
my
these preferences.
gosh.
If you see our Twitter account going back and forth with people, especially like A&M, Oklahoma fans, stuff like that, that is not me.
It's that guy.
Yeah, I might get one off, but that is not me. That like what I'll do is I'll post like graphics and videos and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Other than that, that
I
guy,
mean, I do that too, but I also talk.
yeah, but you don't do it at nauseum. I like you talk trash at nauseum. That's what you do.
I
Isn't that what
can't.
the whole Fan Battle ID is, though? Like that's how we built the company.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how. That's.
That what the
I
model is. That's what the model
personally,
is.
That's the model.
I like
Fan Battle
dudes.
Sports.
It gets to the point, and then I'm like, yeah, let's do this.
Tim, you've known me for how long now? When have you ever known me to be able to do that?
I'm talking about what I like to do.
Oh,
I'm not talking. I'm talking. I know what you like to do. I like to throw them things. But I will happily log out. And I will
Yeah.
just let you do what you do. And I'll go to TikTok and post videos on TikTok. I'm not finna do what you did. I would go crazy. First off, I would go insane. I already don't have enough.
Yep.
I would lose the rest of my hair. I don't want to do that. I'm trying to go to get to Turkey, but the way things are going, I don't know if that's going to be the move. So yeah, I just can't do what you do, dog.
I
And
gotta
that's
protect
why
my peace, bro.
I appreciate you, but that Billy Lucci he's a moron, and he's I would say like he's the most unhappy man, like on like and I've seen there's some pretty bad accounts out there, but this Billy Lucci guy, like he's a he's he's a moron. And the thing is, I like the program that he's on, but I
Mm.
don't like him. You know what I
They do.
mean?
Yeah, they do a really good job.
They do great.
wait, who does a good job?
They do great
Texas
work
Addicts, right?
out there. And they got like a representative from every school. Like
Do they?
I like that, but Billy Luch is just he's got. I wouldn't piss on
The
him.
crazy thing is the following he has, though.
He has a huge following.
He had a following.
Massive following.
He's got
But
almost
so does
100.
Jeff. Jeff has a massive following
Yeah.
too. You could argue that people could say like those two are the same guys for two different.
No.
No, the perception of who they are.
The
Not
perception,
necessarily.
yeah.
Jeff's not a
Jeff's in
sad.
a battle right now
Jeff's
with
not
some high
a
schooler, right? Ain't
Jeff.
he
No,
fighting
no,
a
no,
high
no, no.
schooler right
Tim,
now?
Tim, Tim,
Jeff
Tim.
Jeff's not a sad guy. He doesn't give
Oh
sad.
no, he's not a side guy.
Billy Lucci.
Jeff is
Billy
more of
Lucci,
like
I
I
worry
don't.
about his
Yeah.
mental sometimes.
No, Jeff
Especially
Jeff
if
is a, I
A&M is
don't give.
losing.
Yeah, Jeff
Yeah.
doesn't give a shit.
Yeah,
That's
if
the type
A&M
of
is
guy he is.
losing, you might want to
That's-
be on suicide watch with that guy. So, just
I don't think you could say that on a.
my bad, YouTube, my bad.
And now we
TikTok,
just
my
got
bad.
canceled, bro. Appreciate it.
No, we're not getting
Thank
canceled.
you,
Bro. Like,
algorithm.
just go and look at the film. There's millions
Watch
of
the tape.
Go watch
Watch
the
the
tape,
tape.
man. It's there.
Watch the tape. Oh man. All right, guys. Anything else you guys want to add? I want to be respectful of time here with Cory. Anything else you guys want to add for the day?
That's a great question.
No, man.
I
I'm
think I'm good. One thing we did discuss about Sark, I just wanted to throw out there earlier in the conversation about like what he's been able to do at Texas. I just want to throw this out there. Was that like we asked PK if he ever wanted to be a head coach, and he said no. I don't want to take that
Yeah.
step. I
I
like it
remember
here.
that. Yeah.
I like Sark. Same thing with Kyle Flood. And I think when it comes to Sark losing coaches like Terry Joseph, like Gideon, like Choate a couple of years ago.
Yep.
You know,
First
it
choice.
happens. Choice, of
Yep.
course. Yeah.
Yep.
Shout out. Definitely drafting Jameer Gibbs this year in fantasy.
Man.
Yeah, they got that
Man.
tandem back
Yeah,
together.
I
man.
Yeah,
forgot
right.
that's where he went.
Yeah,
My God.
definitely drafting Gibbs. But you're losing positional coaches, but your coordinators are staying. OCDC. To me, that says all you need to know about
Yep.
the program that Sark has, the person that he is, the man that he is,
Yep.
that other men that are older
Mm-hmm.
want to follow.
Yeah.
And I think that's something Sark doesn't get enough credit for when it comes to just the reconciliation of his staff. And of course, you want other guys to get opportunities like Choate. Getting a head coaching job is awesome. But when you have coordinators that aren't even looking to get a head coaching position,
Mm-hmm.
I think that says a lot about the program that he's building. And I think that just sets up everything. Because if the coaches are staying, then the players are staying.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That makes
So,
sense.
but yeah,
Interesting.
just want to get it off my chest.
Yep.
Yeah, no. That's. It's just again, you don't think about that a lot because in the landscape these days, because that used to be a big deal, right? Like recruits would come in and they're not talking about the head coach. Yeah. You know, I waved at Sark the other day. That was kind of cool. But I spent a lot of time with Kyle Flood. I spent
Right.
a lot of
Mm-hmm.
time with Tashard Choice or whoever, right? Like PK or whatever. Like that's important. So that Sark has also been blessed to not have to replace either of his coordinators his entire time here. Like
Yeah.
having 4 or 5 years with the same coordinator is unheard of these days.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, think about what Nick Saban had to do, bro. He was getting a new
Every
OC
year.
every
Every
year,
He was
year.
replacing somebody.
That was crazy,
Crazy.
and they were all successful.
Yeah.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see the first time that happens.
Yeah.
But then also at the same time, like, let's just say it doesn't go well for a year. Sark has done enough with his assistant coaches over time to give him a pass. Look at the assistant coaches he's hired that people are like, wait, who's that guy? And look at how they're killing it right now.
Kenny
Jackson, Baker, the new running backs coach. Yes, we didn't get
Chad
the big
Scott.
fish yesterday. Chad Scott, right? But it'll pay off. Like he has made enough good hires at those positions too to say, okay, we'll wait it out. The defensive line last year, there was almost no drop off, and the recruiting for defensive is, you could argue, but actually you can't even argue. It is a fact. As much as we loved Bo Davis, that dude could not recruit a fish. Like, I mean, he could not recruit any. Like, we didn't get any big recruits when he was here. Didn't get any of them. It was all Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy were 3-star recruits that he
Collins, hometown kid.
Alfred Collins was a 5-star guy, wasn't he?
Yeah,
but he was from Tom Herman.
Oh, he went with Bo. That wasn't Bo Davis.
It wasn't a Bo Davis guy. It was before Bo Davis, right?
Dang.
So it's like
I'm over here
Bo
trying
Davis
to get him.
But now you look at the defensive line commits that they're getting now.
Yeah. Starting with Collins,
they're stealing them from LSU.
Yeah.
Bo Davis hasn't
crazy
beaten Texas. Yeah. Bo Davis hasn't beaten Texas for a top recruit on the defensive line.
Well, now he's
he's gone,
Orleans.
Right? He's in New Orleans.
That must be so cool for freaking Broughton.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
You know, to have your boy
go back to your old coach, and from a development standpoint, that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
But in college, the turnover is so much, and you have to just continue to stack talent. That if you can't, the only way to bring that talent in, there's only 2 ways. Well, now there's 2 ways, right? Transfers and recruiting. And if the school's not willing to pay money for transfers, you don't have any other option, but you have to be the guy that goes and brings these recruits in.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you can't do it, then you're just always playing behind the 8 ball, and you have to work that much harder to build, 3-star guys into 5-star talents, especially in the SEC. I just don't think it's sustainable moving forward.
I don't think it is either.
Which is probably why he left. Just a guess. But so, I think Sark. That's a good call out. I think Sark deserves a lot of credit for the staff that he's been able to put together, and also deserves a lot of credit for being able to pick guys that we don't know about, maybe at face, but then as we've seen them over time, what they've turned into, which is really cool.
It's crazy. I mean, Kenny Baker didn't have a power forward job.
Kenny
People,
Baker was, yeah, he was like an assistant to the coach, right? He was the assistant of the assistant
Yeah.
in at Miami, which is crazy, right? He was the assistant D line coach, like, and he's recruiting
like,
top talent in
how did
Texas.
Sark know about this guy? Like, it's crazy. But yeah,
Yeah,
shout out Sark, man. Shout out to that staff. They're doing their thing. People freaking out about yesterday, KJ going there to A&M,
yep,
but they'll be
makes
fine by
sense.
December. By December,
Yeah,
this whole conversation is gonna be
Might be a
calmed
different
down.
one.
yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see what
probably.
happens.
Might be a different one.
Who knows? Real quick, Tim, any final thoughts?
No, I mean, no, this has been a great conversation. I've been looking forward to this one.
It was a good
Again, we gotta just stay calm, man, and enjoy what we got in front of us. Again, I'm gonna say this on blue in the face until the season starts. We just gotta really, really just chill out, and just sit back and enjoy what we have because we could be TCU right now.
time. Dang, that's for
It'll be
sure.
A&M.
Could be A&M.
You could be A&M. You could be Billy Lucci.
All right, cut it, dog. Cut it. Let it go, dog. Let's in the stream, dog. Do it right now. For somebody to say something crazy.
Gosh,
Really,
bro.
this is like you've been getting slugged for like the
Just
last 45
strays.
minutes.
Hey, man.
Yo,
I didn't bring it up, y'all. Oh, actually, no, I didn't bring
yeah,
it up.
you
No,
did.
you brought it up.
You brought
Nah,
it
You
nah,
up.
said,
nah,
"Hey,
it's
I
not
Corey, I
wasn't
got
true.
a
even worried
weird
about
question
Billy
for you."
Lucci.
Literally out of the blue.
Yeah,
You
That's
brought
fair.
it
So
up.
I did.
and
I mean, it was a random question. We're a fan battle. We don't like the Aggies. I was just curious.
You keep saying
So,
we like you speaking French right now. You know what I'm saying?
mm.
I'm an unbiased journalist. You
unbiased
know,
journalist. He's not in.
We
unbiased
are
journalist.
on this show. We are all we. We is one.
We is one. Man, end the show, man. End it. Just end it
All
right
righty.
now.
Well, it was a good time. Before we get out of here, Corey, where can the people find you?
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, Cory underscore Mose on all platforms: IG, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. I've been posting on YouTube as well. So yeah, all that stuff. Go ahead and check me
Oh,
out there. Remember, Manning Cast Academy. Check for that coverage next week. I'm so excited to go.
Yeah.
And so yeah, check for that coverage. I'm hoping Arch gives me a little one-on-one
yeah.
conversation, and if so, let me know what y'all want. Yeah, go ahead, hit me up. What would you want to know from Arch?
Yeah.
Find me on Twitter, find me on TikTok, IG, DM me, send me a question that you want me to ask Arch, and I'll try to get it done for you. So, yep, that's all I got.
Awesome. Tim Wayne, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Tim Wayne on Twitter. You can find me on Tim Wayne on pretty much all of social media. You can also find me at the Longhorn Fan Battle. I'm not the one talking a whole bunch of trash. I'm the one usually posting about EA Sports College Football, posting some type of graphic or some type of scheduling event or something of that nature. Also, again, we appreciate the TikTok fans out there, the TikTok family. Y'all been really great. Y'all been really helpful. Y'all been really effective as well. Y'all jumped in, commented and stuff like that. So we appreciate you guys jumping in the stream and the comments, keeping the conversation going about the Longhorns. Whatever sport we're covering or whatever post we're covering, you guys are really up there and y'all really support us. So we appreciate that. And yeah, that's it. That's it for me. Where they
Awesome.
find you at, man? Where can they find you?
You can find me at the Uncle Gandhi. You could also find me at Longhorn Fan
It's
Battle.
so it's so bad, ain't it? It's so bad, ain't it, Corey? The
How's that
Uncle
bad?
Gandhi, but he's a terrorist. He's a literal terrorist.
Bro, oh my
It's
goodness,
so it's
Uncle
so it's
Gandhi.
so it's so everything. Like, oh man, go my bad, dog. My bad. You got it, dog. Got it. You got
Wait,
it.
what are you talking about?
No, you
It's a
good. You
clean
good, man. You
account.
good. You good. You good. I just thought
What
Keep
made you?
on
What made you
improving
put?
it.
What made you put that name though? You know
the
what I'm
Uncle
saying?
I'll tell
Like,
Gandhi.
you. So back in the day, before I worked at with Tim, I worked at this game store and I worked with this guy. His name was Trevor, super cool guy, right? And I was actually like in the midst of creating a new gamer tag because I had like a default gamer tag when I was a kid, right? I was like, dude, I want to create a new gamer tag. What should I call it? He's like, what about Uncle Gandhi? And I was like, that sounds amazing. I could be like the opposite of Gandhi, who's because I'm kind of a dick, like I'm like whatever, and it's
you're
like
the uncle.
Gandhi was peaceful, and I was like, I can
Yeah,
even
yeah.
spell it differently because it like shows how much more of an asshole I am. So
I give you that. Okay.
that's how he was
Evil
born.
twin, like the evil twin, basically.
Exactly.
Yin and yang.
It's
Yeah.
so
Yin and
it's
yang.
it's
Yeah. I
almost like
got
the
you.
White Ranger or the Green Ranger to the White Ranger. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly. Look, I'm picking up what you're putting down
Hey, I
for
appreciate
sure.
it. See, that's why we
Yeah.
like you, Corey. You get what we're saying.
No,
That's why we
no.
like him, man.
He
I'm
gets to
understanding.
understand.
I'm
He
understanding.
gets to
That's what
understand.
it is. I'm
He did with
understanding.
you. That's all he did.
No, but that's what you can find me on Twitter. Find me at LH Fan Battle. Find us all on TikTok. Go Go follow Corey. He's going to be at the Manning Passing Academy next week. He's going to post up a whole bunch of good stuff. But we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Of course, my name is Harish. This is my guy Tim Wayne. This is our guy Corey. We out of here. Peace.
Phil Gabriel.